accident, you know it's no walk in the park. Car repairs, medical bills, and lost time from work all add up. And if the insurance company isn't paying their fair share, you have to cover the rest, even if it wasn't your fault. That's why you need an advocate. Call us today, and we'll do everything we can to get you moving again. Come on.
You deserve clear, risk-free advice to help get you back on your feet. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, happy NFL Kickoff Thursday on The Monty Show. As always, we are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. I tell you every single day that, yes, The Advocates work on workman's comp. They handle workman's comp. They are the workman's comp experts. If you get hurt on the job site, if you get hurt at work, if you get hurt while driving a work vehicle, got to reach out to The Advocates at theadvocates.com, where you never pay a penny out of pocket. Never, ever pay a penny out of pocket. In fact, you don't pay The Advocates unless and until they win your case at theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Good morning. I wish I could say to everybody on X this morning, but all those fired engineers, I don't know how many people realize right now that Twitter is offline. Twitter is down. Twitter is down. Are you concerned, Jake? Like, do you feel, I know how much.
A little bit. I'm choked up about it. It's upsetting.
I know how much you have, espoused your love of Twitter.
Yeah, so number one, I'm not a huge Twitter guy. I use Twitter to get like some news, to follow the sports cycle, maybe to get some video, but I'm not out here, spending hours on Twitter every day trying to control the narrative with all the, what do they call it? Grifters. So Twitter is just, it's not what it once was. And unfortunately, like, we need it for the show, but ultimately it's not something that I'm like, oh man, I'm heartbroken Twitter's down today.
So for the second time in a week, we have a Twitter outage. And I don't notice it very often because I am much like Elon Musk's advertisers on X. I don't use it very often anymore. See what he did there?
Yeah, that was a shot at advertising.
But yeah, Twitter was down for most of the day on Monday, right? And now it's down again. So how I think that before we get to all this football and stuff and I think we are so heavily dependent on social. I am a huge Instagram user. I'm a huge TikTok user. I just am amazed at how far Twitter has fallen, and stuff like this where you're out, where Twitter has a massive outage now for the second time in less than a week. You can't tell me this is moving in the right direction.
No, and I just think that the whole Elon Twitter experiment has been, a dumpster fire from the beginning. Just the acquisition of it, like, all the, we've heard all the stories and all the, the reporting about like, hey, I'm going to fire half of the, engineers and, the moderators and, just all these people that, the former folks who own Twitter, were investing in and it helped make the platform good. And then a lot of things changed. So I don't know. I mean, is the outage because of shorter staffing? I have no idea. I'm not a social media app engineering expert, but what I am an expert in is, hey, you need your platform's got to be up as often as possible. And when you're Twitter, having an outage like this for the second time in 1 week is not a great look.
Yeah, no, it certainly is not. It is Kickoff Thursday, though, on the Monty Show. Coming up an hour from now, we'll get fully into the NFL. Am I the only one that's sick and tired of the Kansas City Chiefs?
What?
Now, as somebody that lived in St. Louis for 2 years and covered the Rammies, and I've never been fond of the city of Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not my jam. I think the food sucks. I think it's overrated. I think everybody talks about how great the barbecue is. Barbecue in Utah is superior. It is not close. It is way better. Well, I don't know what that's about, but it is the barbecue in Utah is superior to the barbecue in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get that out of the way right now. And the reason I hate the Chiefs is probably because they're good. But I'm just so over Patrick Mahomes and his entire family. I'm over the Kelsey, I'm suing because you leaked our plans thing. I'm over it. I have love for Andy Reid. I respect the hell out of the guy, but I'm so tired of Kansas City.
Well, it's all we've gotten the last couple of seasons. And, it's you're right. It's because they are good and they are constantly in our face. And I don't even, I actually think the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes are a little bit more likable than the Patriots were with Tom Brady. But unfortunately,
not by much, though.
Not by much, but a little bit. And I think, unfortunately, for all of us who are not Chiefs fans, with social media, it's just thrown in our face constantly. And so it's like, to your point, it's like, oh, Patrick and Brittany or Jackson or like any of the family
issues. His dad,
right? Like there's been so many things. And then you've got Kelsey, who is a Hall of Fame tight end, certainly, really good at what he does, and now is able to link up with Taylor Swift, and now that's just reignited the fire. So I'm with you. I'm a little bit burned out on it, but needless to say, I am incredibly excited for this game tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some NFL, so we'll talk a lot about that. But real quick, the other thing is, while we're just being, starting the show as jerks and saying things that you guys don't like, no, I will not join your fantasy football league. And I feel like we have to cover this every year on the show at NFL Kickoff. I'm flattered. I love you guys.
Monty,
I appreciate
golf,
it. Dude, no. The answer's no. And my guy, I don't even know if I should. My guy Preston, who is a longtime listener of the show and is a UPS driver in West Valley, thought he had delivered a package to my house. Actually, no. There are other Martys in the Valley.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Nope. But Preston DM'd me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Via social media.
All of them. And was like, hey, Monty. No, the answer's no. Well, I won't charge you the $200 entry fee.
What?
He's got, I think he said 16 bros in his league, and they each pay $200.
What's up, big bro?
To be in his fantasy football league.
Dude.
And they do the championship Sunday in Las Vegas every single year. This year, they're going to the Fontainebleau. And I'm flattered. And, I appreciate you asking, but hell no. I have finally extricated myself from 100% from fantasy football.
Because you used to be really in on fantasy football.
I used to have like 86 leagues a year, and I was in this guy's league and that guy's league, and I always fleece dudes in trades. And no, bro, I'm not joining your fantasy league. I live a much healthier, happier existence. Just give me Prize Picks.
Yes.
And Sunday in front of the TV after my round of golf, of course.
Right.
That's all I need. I don't need, Monty, we're doing it on the ESPN platform. It's super easy on the app. I'm sure it is.
Well, Monty, if you won't join my league, can I get some advice? What, like, should I pick up, Jimmy D Head from North Dakota State?
I'm here for that. Preston says he plays Prize Picks because of us. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna play some Prize Picks? Use the promo code Monty. Let's swap picks. I'm good with that. You want to know what quarterback you should start? All 8,000 of you who have asked me if you should draft Caleb Williams as an QB2. Yes. No, I won't join your league. I won't. And if that makes me an asshole, okay, then I guess I feel a certain types of way. That's fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that. You know, Maury Alvarez. But Monty, what if I paid you to join my league? I'm still not joining your league. I'm not doing it. Mike Smith, Preston Stone is PMing Monty to join his fantasy football league. Truth is that Monty is afraid of Preston's manhood. Monty heard it was registered as a deadly weapon.
Right.
Could be true.
Right.
Could be true. Could be true. Travis says LOL at Utah barbecue. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Smoking Bones up in North Salt Lake. Smoking Bones barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. They don't advertise. You tell them, hey, Monty said he's fat and he knows barbecue. Is he right? I'm right. Trust me when I say Smoking Bones. My guy Cameron at Bam Bam's.
Yeah.
Down in Provo. Go get, there's so much good barbecue here. Utah Pig Bus on Twitter. Best tailgate ever. Go get it. Barbecue in Utah is superior to barbecue in Kansas City.
Yeah, you know, in my short experiences with Kansas City, the thing that I noticed that's different about it, and the reason I think Salt Lake's barbecue is better, is because in Kansas City, you walk into a barbecue joint, and it's like the kitchen's inside, and like, you know, it's just a traditional, like, you know, fast casual setup. In Utah, like with Bam Bams or Smoking Bones or whatever, these homies got these rigs that are these massive pole behind trailer smokers sitting out back of their restaurant, and they're just smoking stuff like all day.
I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do for the burst. If I'm going to fire up the Traeger, I've got to get the outdoor TV set up because this Sunday is going to be amazing. It's 11 a.m.
Boom.
Bears and Titans. I think it's one of those Sundays where you just fire up the Traeger, get the wings going, and you celebrate Caleb Williams being the Super Bowl MVP.
Obviously.
Even though Ebersucks is still there.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about it.
Did you any chance you watched Hard Knocks this week?
I did.
What do you make of your boy crying while making cuts?
Can I just Ryan Poles?
Yeah.
He wasn't crying. It's amazing to me that you say things like, did you watch Hard Knocks this week?
Well, I'm just asking. You're a busy guy.
No, I'm not.
You got things going on.
I don't have a life.
You're preparing for an Indian wedding, and you've got to prep.
You know.
Yeah,
it's fine. Texas barbecue all day, not even close. Texas barbecue is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Mike Smith, Smoking Bones, is that one of those weird Mormon things like soaking? No. What has happened to this show? Who are we?
Bro, we can't even get into the lead topic because we're out here talking about barbecue and Mormon traditions.
No, we're out here talking about soaking.
Dude.
We're not talking about barbecue. We're talking about soaking. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You know, I just am. Again, I freely admit I hate Kansas City because I used to live in St. Louis and I'm from Chicago. There's nothing to like about Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Screw the Royals. Although I've gotten to know Brett Saber. I used to play baseball with Brett Saberhagen in an adult baseball league. Not kidding. And Brett Saberhagen wasn't allowed to pitch in this league that we were in together. And he can rake and play shortstop like nobody's business.
He's no Bobby Witt Jr., though. Like,
no,
let's chill
screw
with that.
Bobby Witt Jr. One time I picked Bobby Witt Jr. on Prize Picks. What do you do? Nothing. Shag off. Anyway, what's a grifter then proceeds to grift his face off over barbecue? Okay, well, I'm telling you, and it's not grifting, it's a fact. Barbecue in Utah, better than barbecue in Kansas City. Barbecue is so overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Italian food in St. Louis. All right, let's have the conversation. Barbecue in Kansas City? Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
No. Go roller food in Kansas City is better than barbecue in Kansas City. I've been there. I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Lorena's and Woods Cross beat Mexican food in Utah. Well, but can I tell the truth about food in Utah? And we're probably way too carried away with this now. The food scene in Utah is not good. It's not good. People are like, oh, Monty, this is a foodie town. No, it's not. No, it's not. I've lived all over this country. The best food town I've ever lived in, Chicago, Illinois. Chicago's the best food town I've ever been in.
Why do you say?
They've got the best food, which makes it the best.
Okay.
Because I can get anything I want. I can get pizza, and deep dish pizza is highly overrated. Thin crust, sausage and onion from Rosati's Pizza, not overrated. It's a great pizza town. It's the best hot dog town. It is a great steak and potatoes town. It is a great Italian food town. It is a great Mexican food town. It is a great Chinese food town. It is a great Indian food town.
Mm-hmm.
Utah doesn't have any of that. We've got one Mexican place, Red Iguana, and you can never get a reservation. It's worse than golf. You can't get tee times in Utah, but you can't get Mexican food.
Yeah.
Like people here legitimately think Beto's is good Mexican food. Filiberto's, Rillaberto's, Jimmy Berto's. Like that's what good. In the comments section, best food town you've ever been to. Although, for me, it's Chicago. The Italian food I had in Boston was gas, dude. It was really, really good. Really, really good. Austin Davis, I live 5 minutes away from Smoke and Bones. It's very good barbecue. That's my guy, Kyle. That's my guy. Monty likes Chicago food the best because he knows Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago, personally. Steve says Pittsburgh. Hero 75 says New Orleans. Never been to New Orleans. Need to go. Damian Fowler, morning, homies. Jake, where is the best gas station roller food in Utah? The expert.
I mean, I would say it's probably a Maverick, but I haven't been to every single Maverick. So
we were at 7-Eleven last week before our Friday night round of golf. Mrs. Monty and I, and we watched a guy. Well, I didn't because I had shoes on. I didn't have shoes on, rather. So maybe it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago at 7-Eleven. We watched a guy pull off like 10 wings. And I was like, dude, do you know how much poop is on that roller? I'm not doing it. Mr. Preston says New York City. Matt Ritson says Arizona is the best.
No.
Well, as somebody who used to live in Phoenix I did a nickel in Phoenix. That's the worst stretch of time of my life.
The problem with food in Phoenix is it's so damn dry that you experience that in the food. Yeah. That's the issue.
There's some good Mexican there.
Yeah.
There's some good Southwest Mexican there for sure. I don't disagree about New York City. I actually had a really good brat in New York City. I got stranded in Bristol, Connecticut when I was working at ESPN. So I drove from Bristol to New York City, stopped, and I got to tell you, that was pretty good. Probably just need the right barbecue place in KC, but personally, I don't eat barbecue enough to know. Well, there you go.
That's the other side of it too.
There you go. Somebody asked me yesterday what my favorite candy is. I don't generally eat candy anymore. So I don't really have it's a Snickers bar, your favorite candy? Probably not. Agree with Hero. Nothing better than a Creole Cajun food in New Orleans. Okay. The best pastrami sandwich I ever had was in Chicago. Well, delis in Chicago are off the chain. Texas has some damn good barbecue and great Tex-Mex. Derek says Vegas. Well, Vegas, obviously, Mastro's Ocean Club is in Vegas. But, Mexican food ranks by state. Arizona 1, Texas 2, California 3, Chicago, which is a city.
See, I disagree with this. I don't disagree with the states you have here, but I think California's got to be way higher.
California has better Mexican food than Texas.
Yeah, and Arizona, in my opinion. But
Arizona's got a couple of Mexican food spots.
Yeah, Cachino Madrigal in South Phoenix is really good. It made, I think, Yelp's like top 10 nationally. But I don't know. I think part of going out to eat is also the neighborhood vibe that you're in. And,
well, Taco Guild in Phoenix.
Yeah, Taco Guild in Phoenix is really good. That's a good neighborhood. I mean, there's some spots, but it's hard to beat the ocean breeze and a nice set of tacos.
Yeah, eye patch. Exactly. Well, I live in Phoenix, the Phoenix Valley, and all Mexican food is carne asada. Exactly right.
Yeah, great point.
Exactly right. I need to go to a great city for barbecue. Florida barbecue is like roller food. Does Florida have barbecue? Is that true? All right, last one, then we got to get to work. Noel Ramirez. Orlando has some good places. Florida has good food. The Cuban food in Miami, good Lord. Good Lord. Do not even. Ooh, dude, that is Jeremiah Sullivan. Texas is more Tex-Mex than Mexican. Totally agree. Totally agree. And I guess it's not the last one. This is the last one. To me, you need a good sauce to have good barbecue. Hate the mustard base and the vinegar based sauces. Me too.
Yeah.
Smoking bones. I'm telling you. The guy is
He's a magician, dude.
He really is. All right. Who's the best team in college football? Let's get into this. Obviously, week 0 taught us nothing. Week 1 taught us a little more. This week, we're going to get a very good look inside the top 25 of the AP poll, and we'll find out how accurate it is. But right now, if I said to you, who's the best team in college football, how would you answer that question? I would not say Miami, which is a very, very chic pick right now. Miami's not the best team in college football. Until they're not, I am going to tell you it's Georgia. What we saw out of that defense, obviously the offense was less than impressive, but I think we know what Carson Beck is. I think that defense, which defines champions, in my opinion, in college football, because you've got to be able to cover. And in my opinion, Georgia can really cover. I think it's Georgia, but I also think when you look at what we've seen on the field, I'm not sure that we have a true indicator of who the best team in college football is. And yes, obviously it's early. We're going into week 2. We have some big matchups. I am curious how much things change on a week-to-week basis as we head for conference play. And really next weekend is when we start seeing big games go off. I think it's going to be very interesting to see who lives up to the hype. Teams like Utah, you look at the Big 12, a lot of hype around Utah, as there should be. Cam Rising looked great. Brant Keithy looked good. They ran the ball well. The defense was stout. But now week 2 and week 3 and week 4, and we get into this schedule, and I'm curious your thoughts on who can really stick and stay. The Big 12, and in my opinion, the SEC are going to eat themselves. You look at what we saw of the offenses in the SEC last weekend, and it was 60 points all over the place. But again, I feel like we go back to this conversation about how much depth do we really have in the Big 10. And so many people now are putting USC in the college football playoff, and I am not ready to do that. When we talk about the best teams, obviously we've got to find the 12 best teams by the time the month of December gets here. And trust me, we will. The schedule is going to dictate that. But here we are going into week 2, and you're already making the case that USC is one of the 12 best teams in the country. That I don't feel like is accurate. But one thing I know for sure, Jake, I believe that Georgia is the best college football team in the land.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to give the nod to Georgia just because of what they did last year and who we know that they are towards the end of the year in the playoff, and they've got a reputation. I think that, you know, a lot of the narratives that we see play out in college football when it comes to the AP top 25 early in the season is bigger, more generalized narratives. So like with USC, an example, this would be people saying, hey, well, USC is going to be a college football playoff team because they just showed they can beat the SEC, right? They just showed that they can beat, you know, LSU, who was amazing last year, but there's been quite a bit of fall off and, you know, lost to the NFL from a talent perspective. So like, that's the kind of narrative I'm talking about. Like, I think a team that I feel like is just not being talked about a whole lot is Texas right now. You know, if you look at Texas, you say, okay, well, it was Colorado State. You beat them 52-0. But the thing that I think puts Texas right there with Georgia, regardless of what the ranking says, is the depth that they have. We briefly touched on this earlier in the week, but the Arch Manning situation with Texas is both an awesome problem to have for Texas And it's also one of the worst problems you can have, because if Quinn Ewers gets hurt, you got another stud right behind him who's going to step right into that offense, and you're not going to lose a beat. Can't say the same thing about Georgia. Can't say the same thing about USC. Not sure you can say the same thing about Alabama. So from a quarterback depth perspective, I think Texas gets the nod when we talk about the best teams in the country. But again, I think right here today, you got to say Georgia's the best team in the country because of that defense. I think Texas still needs to show that they can come out in a big game this season and stop some of the best teams in the country. And obviously, we're not going to get a real good look at the best team in the country for Texas until October 19th when they play Georgia. So we're not going to get a real good idea what that defense can do to a talented team that's big up front. Until those two match up. So for me, I think Georgia's the best team in the country here today, but I think you need to pay attention to Texas, and I think anybody past that has proving to do.
Yeah, I look at the current situation. I mean, if you had to pick 4 teams to get in right now, I mean, obviously I'm taking Georgia, Ohio State, and Utah, but who's going to win the ACC? Who's going to be the champion of the ACC? Can you pick today anybody but Miami?
I don't think so.
I don't think you can. And if we surmise that those 4 teams are in, and I'm not convinced that Georgia wins the SEC, I think they're going to get in. I think Alabama was the most impressive team that I saw this past weekend. I think Alabama, the way that Alabama performed, the way that Alabama came out, and you put up, it's not that you put up 63 points. It's not that you pounded Western Kentucky, because it almost doesn't matter. It's that Jalen Milroe looked like a totally different player who was better and more prepared and ready to compete. And you look at the way that they went about their business, and he goes 7 of 9, 200 yards and 3 scores. Enjoy the rest of the day off. Like, just an absolute dominant performance, and looked really good doing it. And it feels like when he's running the ball as effectively as he ran the ball, that defense, I feel like, is really good. That offense is better than any of us thought that it would be in Tuscaloosa. I think they are either the conference champions or one of the next 5 in.
Well, I think the interesting conversation with Bama too is like the differences between who Nick Saban was as a head coach and who Kalen DeBoer has shown us to be. Kalen DeBoer, in my opinion, is an elite developer of quarterbacks. Like, you can be one of the best in the game, and he'll still develop little things in your game to make you better. You can be someone like Jalen Milroe, who obviously has a ton of talent with his legs and needed to develop as a thrower. And as a reader of the defense, I think that's one thing he struggled with a little bit last year. And I would agree, this type of performance shows you, hey, I'm going to throw the ball, 9 times? I think you said he's 7 of 9 for 200 yards. Like, I'm going to throw the ball 9 times, score 3 times, and I'm going to have 200 yards. That shows me that you know what the defense is trying to do to you. You know what you're trying to do on the offensive side. And there's a lot of development there. So when you look at Alabama, again, that's another team that I think right here today, early season conversations, people are discounting them because of Kalen DeBoer, but I'm not so sure that we should be discounting them, because I actually think Kalen DeBoer is, and I'm not saying he's a better coach than Nick was, but what I am saying is that Kalen DeBoer is extremely talented at developing a quarterback, in guiding them and showing them, hey, this is what the defense is trying to do to you. Our preparation during the week is going to allow you to dissect Georgia's defense and put the ball in the right spot. And if Jalen Milroe can continue to do that and keep improving, Alabama's going to be a real problem. But I think people are just simply saying, oh, well, it's Kalen DeBoer, not Nick Saban. Alabama's not going to be as good. And I just don't think that that's fair or accurate.
Yeah, and I think it's Alabama, so people have expectations. They're still wildly talented. Are they as deep defensively as they were last year? Certainly not. You don't lose Downs in the level of talent that they lost to the portal and think that you're not going to miss a beat. But I think Alabama is incredible. And just the growth and development that we saw out of Jalen Milroe, both running the ball. I think he had 2 scores on the ground, running the ball, throwing the ball, everything that you needed to see out of an elite quarterback. You saw it there, and it's what I think we've all needed. But if we look at, the other teams that I would probably have Texas at 6. I'd have Alabama at 5. I'd have Texas at 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think Texas is going to smash Michigan this weekend. I'm a big believer that when you have an average-ass quarterback, which I think is pervasive in the Big Ten, which is what worries me about Penn State. And I've talked a lot about Drew Aller. I don't think he's better. I don't think he's developed. I don't think he's grown. I think James Franklin is not a great football coach. It's what worries me about that conference. And if Miller Moss turns out to be something other than what we thought he was, SC could be potentially dangerous. But you look at some of the quarterback performances, I know he put up gaudy numbers, but was Dylan Gabriel's offensive performance really that impressive?
No, and I don't think Oregon's
that worries you.
Performance as a team was all that impressive. Now, again, I personally, I'm going to give him a free pass on that because it was Idaho State. It was, your first game of the year. All right, maybe you were knocking off some rust. You were finding your way. Okay, but if you're going to come out and be a team with Dylan Gabriel that's going to struggle to put up 20 points, you're not going to survive in the Big Ten. You're not better than SC. You're not better than Ohio State at that point. And that's the real problem. Like, I look at the Big Ten, when we're talking about best teams in the country.
Yeah.
And obviously gets the automatic nod as the best team in the conference, as they should, right? I mean, they, Will Howard, the offense, the defense, the pressure on Ryan Day, you would expect nothing short of a 1-loss season or an undefeated season out of them. But I think Oregon has a ton on the line. You're talking about a guy in Dan Lanning who turned down the Alabama job to stay at Oregon. He obviously knew the opportunity that was going to be presented to him this year with the Big Ten. And the simple question is going to be, can Dylan Gabriel show that he is a big-time quarterback, that he is as good or in the same realm as Bo Nix was? Because Bo Nix was sensational. And Bo Nix has now shown that in the NFL, he's going to be a starter, albeit for the Broncos. Like, you're still a damn good quarterback at that point. So I just think, with the best teams in the country, the SEC is, for me, still has the most complete football teams. But if teams like Oregon can actually show up and improve and show us that they're that guy, that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I look at Texas. I think that defense, my formula, and I say it every day, I feel like elite defense, elite quarterback. Everything else will take care of itself. If you can't run the ball, okay, run RPO.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you don't have a quarterback, you can't run RPO, and it's going to be really difficult to run the ball. It's what worries you so much about Ollie Gordon's health at Oak State, or again, it's this Texas-Michigan matchup this weekend. Michigan doesn't have a quarterback. Texas has 2. And Texas has had devastating injuries at the running back spot. They're still running the ball. You still have elite quarterbacks. You still have elite skill position players outside. And their defense dominated. And I look at Texas. I don't worry about Quinn Ewers. You don't worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
And now if he gets hurt, I think one of the biggest issues at Texas is everybody's probably already scratching, itching, hoping Arch Manning gets real time this year. But you have a really good quarterback in Arch Manning who can't get on the field because of Quinn Ewers,
mm-hmm.
who is a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. And I think Texas is really good. It's what makes it difficult when I look at these rankings. Is Texas better than Alabama? That's a really tough discussion right now.
Well, I think definitively Texas is deeper at quarterback than Alabama is. And, I think.
Yeah, but is Quinn Ewers as good as or as dynamic as Jalen Milroe? I think Quinn's a better probably thrower of the football. I think Jalen Milroe is probably a more dynamic quarterback.
Does Quinn have to be as good as Jalen for them to win? Because that's the hard
to win
part.
A national championship. I think Quinn Ewers is going to have to play the best football he's ever played,
mm-hmm.
because I think we saw last year that out-athleting teams is not going to get the job done. And I think the real question is, can Quinn Ewers stay healthy for a full slate? And if he does, I think they're going to be very good. But I would put Alabama 5. I would put Texas 6. And then you're probably somewhere, if it was today, I'm probably a little higher on. I mean, Oregon's probably going to be there. I would probably put Ole Miss 7.
I was going to say, I think you got to have Ole Miss ahead of Oregon.
I think you got to have. You do have to have Ole Miss ahead of Oregon today, and this is today.
Right.
We're not projecting, but today.
Yeah.
I think that's 7, and then 8, 9, 10 is going to be tough. I think, obviously, right now today, I don't put USC there. I don't. I put Missouri there. I put Missouri's probably my last team in. I put Missouri, 10, 11.
So
I
don't have SC in the playoff right now.
Not right now, not today. I think obviously LSU. I was really surprised SC fans did not show up in Vegas. That was an LSU crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And Miller Moss balled out, bro. Like, I thought Miller Moss was really impressive. I think that the way that obviously the secondary at SC, the linebacker play, DeAnton Lynn, who I have Preston stoned on this show, and I am a huge fan of. Yes, I'm a huge fan of DeAnton Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
That defense is remarkably improved. I need to see Miller Moss do it more. And if he does it into October, okay, we're having a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to put USC there. I'm not. I think Missouri was far more impressive. So I would probably have Missouri there. I don't know what to do with Notre Dame because this is what am I missing on Notre Dame? And I am a diehard Domer. I think you guys all know that. What am I missing on Notre Dame? Because I don't see it with Riley Leonard. I was not impressed with the offense. The defense was scintillating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not impressed with Notre Dame's offense.
Yeah, well, I don't think you should be impressed with Notre Dame's offense. I think, pro Notre Dame narrative right now is that, hey, they grinded it out on the road in a tough environment against A&M. They did not have control of that game, from start to finish, but they did take control. I would say midway through the third, you took control. And from there, you handled your business and won the game. I think, like you said, I think people are just knob-slobbing that defense and saying it's the best defense in college football. It's a really damn good defense.
It's a really good defense.
But I think the problem is that, and this is the other side of this conversation, scheduling is not in favor with Notre Dame. It's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, wow, you got a great defense when you're playing Boiler Down or Miami of Ohio, or later in the year, you're playing a Florida State team that's trash and going to be totally uninterested because they're out of any playoff race. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to get a real good idea of like who Notre Dame is as a team until probably the last game of the year against SC, because you're just not playing anybody on this schedule where I'm like, man, wow, like that was Georgia, that was Ole Miss, that was Ohio State. Like, I don't get a good look at them. That's the problem.
I'll go back to Texas, Michigan.
Yeah.
The formula. Michigan doesn't have the formula. You have a quarterback who simply isn't capable. So you're going to ask your running backs to beat Texas. And I think Michigan would be thrilled to play West Virginia style football and just grind your face off. But what's the problem with West Virginia style football? It doesn't win you big games.
Mm.
And when you are well behind the curve at quarterback, I mean, the quarterbacks are going to win the game 9 out of 10 weeks in college football. And you have an elite quarterback, an elite defense. The line is going to have to, at Texas, is going to have to probably win the game this week because Michigan won't be able to throw the ball. But that's a formula I can live with.
Right.
Because if Michigan somehow takes the lead in this game, let's say they go up 10-0, is it over? Is the game over?
No.
If Texas goes up 10-0, is the game over?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Because Michigan doesn't have the firepower.
Well, and I think you're seeing that sentiment reflected in the line, right? I mean, right now it's -4 for Texas.
Yes.
The over-under's 42.5. And, for you money line guys, it's already -280 for Texas. So you're talking about people feeling like, hey, Texas is going to win this game. It's just a matter of how much. And I think that's I think that's a fair sentiment. I think that's accurate.
And I look at the AP top 25, and obviously, again, What we know about the AP is they have MLS writers with votes
Mm-hmm.
who don't watch college football. But this is a popularity contest. And I agree that those first 3 teams are very good. I agree even that Alabama is 4. There's not a chance on earth that Notre Dame is the 5th best team in the country.
Right, I would agree with that, yeah.
There's not a chance on earth that Michigan's the 10th best team in the country. There's not a chance on earth that Michigan is better than Miami, Utah. I don't believe they're better than Tennessee. I don't. I'm really like, and I know, again, every flipping week that we talk about the AP and K-State voter is like, you're a son of a bitch, Monty. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. There ain't a chance in the world. We're going to find out who K-State is this week, because I am warning you right now, Tulane is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Tulane, my friends, and we can sit here and we can espouse about, K-State and Avery Johnson, and I'm warning you that game is at Tulane. Oh, but Monty, Willie Fritz, I get it.
What happened to USC?
I get it.
Lost to Tulane in the bowl game, and they're terrible. I want that same type of nonsense about Kansas State if they lose.
I get it. Tulane had some losses, but dude, if you think going to Tulane and you go look at the money that's going into that game right now,
mm-hmm.
Where's all the money going? It's Thursday. Where's the money going? It's starting to come in on Tulane, because that game is going to be really difficult for K-State.
But see, that's the problem in the Big 12 right now. Like, if you look at the AP, like, that's the problem. Like, nobody believes that K-State's just going to go in there and beat the living hell out of Tulane. Nobody believes that. And that's where I say, like, yesterday and, this week we've talked about, hey, like, Big 12 or Big 10, And when I look at the AP, I'm sitting here saying, man, like, dude, bro, like, sorry, you don't have representation until what, Utah?
At 11.
And I would agree. Utah, in my opinion, is better than Notre Dame. Utah is better than a couple of these
think
teams.
Utah is better than Michigan. I think Missouri, I was really impressed with Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are justifiably in week 2 here. Justifiably, they are in the top 10.
But I think you, as a Utah fan, if you're someone who's trying to make the case, you could make the case that Utah should be ranked right behind Ole Miss. That Utah can compete with Penn State. Utah can compete with Missouri, Oregon. I'm not going to sit here and say Utah is better than Ole Miss, because I think Ole Miss has incredible firepower. But I think you could say that they should be ranked behind Ole Miss. And
to Penn State fans' argument yesterday in the comments section, maybe I'm not giving Drew Aller enough credit. Maybe I am so lost in my hate and vitriol for the pedo paterno that I'm taking that anger out on Drew Aller. Or
you're crazy.
He sucks. I could be wrong. But what if I'm right? What if I'm right? And Penn State fan, I think the biggest problem that you have is not Drew Aller. It's James Franklin. Because I don't believe that James Franklin is.
Well, the problem is that Drew Aller's not good enough to cover up the shortcomings in play calling and scheme of a James Franklin-led team.
I would agree with that.
So to say that, saying that Drew Aller sucks is probably harsh.
He doesn't suck.
He doesn't suck, but he's not like a big play, explosive kind of quarterback where you're like, damn, we got to worry about him. You're not, that's not how you're looking at Drew Aller.
And listen, you went on the road and you beat West Virginia, and Drew Aller played well at times, but are you really impressed with the offense, or were you really impressed with the defense?
Yeah.
Because I was really impressed with the defense.
And what do we know about James Franklin-led teams? They're defensive first teams.
And if I said to you, Drew Aller was 11 of 17 for 216 yards and 3 touchdowns, is that impressive? It's not that impressive. And the thing that worries you,
218?
216 yards.
Yeah. I mean, if that number's 285, 300, then I'm like, all right.
But he's not that guy.
Yeah.
And so I go back to an average-ass quarterback in Miller Moss.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, well, this was a neutral site game. This was against LSU.
National TV. Big spot.
The only game.
Yeah.
In front of a hostile crowd in Vegas. And you went 27 of 36 for 378 and a touchdown. And a dime piece of a touchdown.
So haters are going to say.
And you didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah. And haters are going to say, oh, well, Monty only threw for one touchdown.
Well, but they also put up 27 points and only ran for 72 net. 72 yards is what they netted. So I'm going to say that Miller Moss is the reason that they won. I'm going to say that Miller Moss is a guy that I think we all can pretty affirmatively say, hey, you know what? I think, I'm pretty certain that Miller Moss is the reason that they won that game.
And
the defense, but on offense, Miller Moss is why they won that game.
I guess, obviously Miller Moss has to throw the football. He's got to execute the offense. He's got to execute the play. I left that game more feeling like Lincoln was why they won the game, because I felt like the play calling was so damn good offensively. Like he put Miller Moss in such strong positions to be successful that it was easy.
But again, I've been trying to tell you this for 10 years on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Riley is an elite offensive mind.
Mm-hmm.
He is. What you saw from Miller Moss was he got the play, they ran the play, and he ran the play well. But the play call in a lot of that run at the goal line to seal the game.
Yeah.
That was everybody and their brother was assuming that was a pylon throw to set up a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it turned out to be a run right up the middle and nobody touched him.
Well, and what did Lincoln do? Lincoln attacked that safety who had just come in the game after the targeting situation.
Yeah.
With a play that confused him. And I thought,
yeah.
If I'm Brian Kelly, you can bang on the table all you want and be all pissed off. But the reality is that's on you. That safety not being prepared and not reading that play correctly is on you and your staff.
And it was because Miller Moss had thrown the ball so effectively.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that.
So that's what I'm saying. If as far as the AP is concerned, I think you can make a case for USC. Miller Moss has to prove he can do it against better teams, but I believe in Lincoln as an offensive play caller.
Yeah,
I do.
I think that was a virtuoso performance. But again, what do you have at SC? You have an experienced quarterback who, what would this be how long has Lincoln been at SC? This is his third season. So this is Miller Moss's third season in that offense. Man, you have an experienced quarterback capable of pushing the ball down the field. You can't overlook that. If we go over this top 10, and I want your thoughts, but if we go over this top 10, man, I'm telling you that it's not good enough anymore to assume that you can turn around and hand the ball off for the win. That's not how college football games are won anymore. And I know that used to be, and it's so rare. It's Kansas City, the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is the reason that they potentially could three-peat this year.
Right.
Who's their starting running back?
I don't know either.
Kadarius Toney? No, he's not.
Pacheco. I mean,
Edwards-Helaire.
Right.
Think about who cares? You've got Patrick Mahomes. Who's the starting running back in Wales, Virginia? We play at LA Rams House Stadium guy. Yeah, I don't think you care either because Justin Herbert's there. Who's the starting running back of the Chicago Bears? Yeah, I don't care either. Who's the starting running back of the New York Jets? Yeah, I don't care either. Who's the starting running back of the Baltimore Ravens? It's Lamar Jackson. It doesn't matter.
That's interesting you bring that up too. Not to delve into this game tonight, but I think when we look at college football teams, that's the exact kind of narrative I'm talking about. There are so many people on this game tonight talking about how Derrick Henry is going to be this X factor and he's going to run the Chiefs over, and he's going to make it so that, Lamar Jackson, who thought it would be a good idea for whatever reason to cut more weight off of his frame, he's going to have to run less because of Derrick Henry and better protect. Like, dude, you're reading too much into that stuff.
100%.
Like, you go back to, hey, they're going to Arrowhead. If you're going to win a ball game in Arrowhead against a Steve Spagnuolo-led defense, you're damn well going to have to throw your way to a win. And that's not who Lamar is. And when I look at USC, I look at, any of these other teams we've talked about today. Can you throw yourself to a
Michigan?
Michigan.
I'll just
Perfect
keep
example.
going back to Michigan.
Perfect example. Yeah.
Michigan is going to lose to Texas because Michigan is going to have to prove they can play from behind. They're going to have to prove that they can still run the football at a high level, which I think they probably can. But you're not dynamic at the skill positions anymore. You're not dynamic up front anymore. And you're going to be a plodding, methodical offense. That doesn't win games in college football.
Well, and against Texas, I just don't know that you're going to be able to keep up with that offense. I mean, you're just so damn talented at Texas that Michigan's going to have to show on defense that they can keep up with Texas's speed, because that's the main thing that I think wins Texas the ball game, is that you're just so dynamic offensively.
All right, let's get to the comments. The first one I see with my eyes is Stephen Keel. Michigan have a dynamic quarterback? No, they don't have a quarterback. Hardly. And I think it's one of the big talking points about Sharon Moore is that this is finally your team in. You didn't portal a quarterback? They tried, though. They tried, and they were not able to get a quarterback in the portal. And so now you're looking at a situation where your offense, and you look at some of the numbers, it's going to be tough. You're going to lose this game because you're outclassed. I mean, how many exponential, significant, massive? There's a schism. Like, how big is the divide between talent in the quarterback room in Austin, Texas, and Ann Arbor, Michigan? My God, are you kidding me? It is not even close. And you look at guys like Alex Orji, or you look at Davis Warren. Davis Warren can't stretch the field. And I'm wondering, if Michigan can run for. Does Michigan run for 100 yards on a rebuilt Texas defensive line? Probably. I mean, the only thing that Colorado State was able to do to Texas last week was run the football between the tackles.
But again, linebacker play at Texas is elite.
But now you have a situation where you've given Sark a week, and he clearly hid things, held things back, as I would hope Michigan did.
Mm-hmm.
But we know who the quarterbacks are at Michigan. And Davis Warren.
Actually, we know who they are not at Michigan. We know who you are not at Michigan. And that's why I say, like, again, I really do think that Texas, Michigan's one of the easiest picks of the week, and obviously, we'll make the pick officially tomorrow. But again, if you're playing prize picks, or, you're a money line guy or whatever, I just think that I would be looking at more or less on yardages for offensive players with Texas. That's what I'd be looking at.
How on earth is Texas? You want to know how far Michigan's fallen? Texas is still a 7.5-point favorite on a 42.5-point total.
Well, that number's gone up then. Yeah, that number's gone way up.
Why do you say?
Well, I looking at
maybe the line's changed.
No, it has. So it opened at -4 for Texas, and now to what you just said, it's 7.5.
It's 7.5 at 42.5.
Yeah.
That's ESPN bet in the Vegas capsule is now 7.5. You can get it as high. You can buy it to 8.
That's a lot, bro. And again, I just want to point out this is at the big house.
42.5 points.
Yeah.
So you're not expecting Michigan to score at all.
Hey, you're saying this is a 30-10 game. That's what you're saying, basically.
And at 42.5, I think you're expecting the field goal kicker for Texas to be prolific.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my guess. But 74.5% of the money coming in is on Texas.
I think it's a legitimate question for this game. I would put the over-under for points with Texas at 35. Do they score more or less than 35 points in this game?
Michigan's defense is still probably top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
They're not going to, this is not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a 10 to 13 point win for Michigan. And I think it's for Texas, excuse me.
Yeah.
I think it's only that close because Michigan still has a lot of quality on the defensive side of the football. But you're just asking way too much. There's zero margin for error out of the quarterback, the running backs, and the secondary at Michigan. You're asking too much.
Yeah.
And you look at the money that's coming in. You look at the money coming in on Texas, it's massive. It is massive. And I think, I don't even know how you, this is just another game for Texas.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing that really stands out to me about how far Michigan's fallen. And when you start looking at where, Michigan is, I think they need this game so desperately because they're not better than Ohio State, certainly. And I think Ohio State is better than Texas. I don't think they're better than Ohio State.
Mm.
I know they're not better than Michigan. Isn't a top 5 team in the SEC, let alone the Big Ten, let alone the country.
Well, I think, if Michigan loses this game, you're going to drop between 20 and 25 in the AP. That's where you're going to fall to.
Yeah.
And, the problem is for Texas, like you said, on their schedule, this is just another game. I mean, you're talking about a win over Colorado State. Let's call it a win over Michigan. And then you don't play anybody for a couple of weeks. You got UTSA, UL Monroe, Mississippi State, and then you got Oklahoma. That's what you're looking at here. So I just think it's for Texas. I expect them to win this game. I expect you to go out. And I do think in terms of whether this is a blowout or not, it does depend on how the game starts. I mean, if Texas comes out and, like you said, it's 10-0 in the first quarter, this is going to be a blowout. But if it's like a 3-3 game at the end of the first quarter, then, it's probably going to just be like 24-27 to 14.
Well, and I think one of the big indicators is the body of talent at Michigan has plummeted so mightily. And you look at Sharon Moore. I mean, he just did not have a great recruiting year. And I think that's going to continue. And you look at the fact that Clemson had a better recruiting year, and that's without the portal. And then you're going to put the portal on top of it. I mean, I would think that USC, because if you look at the recruiting rankings, I think the 3 teams immediately behind Michigan, and now that Florida State got a huge win in recruiting, I think Florida State, Washington, and SC all are going to leapfrog Michigan in recruiting. You're not talented.
Mm-hmm.
You're not able, and more than that, I think you still are not able to tell a story sitting in people's living rooms.
No, I mean, people aren't stupid, dude. They see what's coming down the pipe with the NCAA.
Yeah.
They know what's coming.
Yep, I agree. Stepanek, Texas has always had elite players, and now they've got an elite coaching staff to push those players up. And again, I go back to Michigan. Sharon Moore has never been proven to be an elite coach.
No.
It never been proven to be a leader of a program.
There's not a lot of reason to go to Michigan right now as a football player. Like you're just like, unless you're thinking about being a legacy Michigan player and being there 5 years and redshirting your first year, and if that's just something that you're married to, and it's not really about winning a national championship, it's just more about like, hey, I want to be in Ann Arbor, I want to experience the Michigan culture, like that's where I want to be. There are so many other options, because if you're someone that Michigan's looking at, Texas is looking at you, right? SC's looking at you. Ohio State's going to give you a look. Like,
and now
you're
with
in those conversations,
with the importance of the portal, and you're watching all of these teams at the top of the recruiting ranks. Now, the volume of high school recruits pales in comparison to the volume of transfer guys. And what is the direct measure of that? Well, all the best portal teams are now at the top of the rankings.
Yep.
And so you look at teams like Georgia, You look at who had a better portal season than Ohio State?
Yeah, I don't think anybody. And Ryan Day had to have that.
USC. How did USC do in the portal? And what happened on the field? They won the game. And they're moving up in the rankings. You look at the total body of recruiting, and recruiting now, I think, obviously, as most people tell you, portal's in recruiting now. And I think it is really, this weekend is where we start to see some of the rubber meet the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's not a lot of great games. Despite what people will tell you, I don't think there's a lot of great games. I think Utah-Baylor is one of the more compelling matchups. I'm going to see what 8-Ball has in Waco and see if he can come to Salt Lake City and do something. Can Baylor cover a 15-point number?
No.
I don't think they can. Arizona, Texas, Michigan's probably the best top 25. Not probably, is the best top 25 matchup. And I think Michigan's going to get smoked. Oak State and Arkansas. Come on. How is Oak State only 7.5? And that's at BPS, so I'm a little surprised by that. That's a shocking number. K-State's under 10 now. That number's moved down. K-State's -9. Like, there's just not a lot of great matchups.
I think Tennessee, NC State's going to be an entertaining game. I think Tennessee is a bit of a sleeper. I think people don't know much about them. But I think you've got explosive quarterback play, and potentially you could climb the rankings, depending on how this game goes for you.
Look at Iowa State.
Good game.
Pretty significant game. Iowa's it's even because Iowa's getting 3 points at Kinnick.
You know the most entertaining game of the week? I got you guys. Tech at Washington State. That's going to be an up and down, push the ball down the field kind of game.
Texas Tech fan.
That's going to be the most entertaining game of the week, in my opinion, just from a football standpoint.
I think I have now fallen in love with Texas Tech fan because we actually were having, educated conversations yesterday about Joey McGuire and Texas Tech.
So Tech fans coming around.
Tech fan is coming around to a certain extent. The defense was embarrassing. And yesterday I thought it was ridiculous. While we were live yesterday, fans are like, oh, Monty, 7 guys, the quarterback that. But you go read the comment section, and what did Texas Tech fans say? Inexcusable, embarrassing. It doesn't matter. 2 years in a row with this defense, which is what I'm saying. Because Baron Morton and the Taj Brooks thing, I'm waiting for clarity on that But the Taj Brooks thing, that's a big deal. He is a big part of Baron Morton's success. And, yeah, I just think it's interesting. Tanner Plumer, who hates Jake Retzloff.
Mm-hmm.
Now BYU fan has matriculated to, well, we just got to wait and see. I don't have to wait and see. Jake Retzloff's the best quarterback in the program.
Bro, you're one of two BYU fans right now. You're either wait and see guy, or you're, hey, I was never a Bohannon guy. That was not me.
Gary who?
I was always Team Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
BYU and SMU is pretty compelling for people here in Utah County. I think it's a huge game.
I think it's compelling for people in the state, bro.
I think
it's
it
just
is
a Utah County thing.
For Kalani Sitake, I got one of those yesterday too. Kalani Sitake needs this win. Because SMU is Dallas. If you look on their jersey, I think this is a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge game. And if you don't pay attention, again, I'm a lines guy. I believe that the line matters. SMU on national television is an 11.5 point favorite at home on a 55.5 point number.
Just telling you, bro.
I'm
not guaranteeing BYU wins this football game, but what I am guaranteeing you is that people do not know who Jake Retzloff is. They do not know how deep that wide receiver room is. And furthermore, and again, this is what I'm watching for in this game. I believe in Jake. This dude will show up for you every single week. But what I want to see is Aaron Roderick's play calling continue to be good, continue to be logical, continue to make good decisions, continue to not be stupid with, hey, let's get cute with, reverse jet sweeps and stuff. Let's go down the field, north and south, not east and west. And if you do that, you should be in this game.
The football.
Yeah. 100%.
Run the football, because Jake Retzloff in play action. And again, Lassiter's back this week. I just think with Roberts and Epps, and it's going to be interesting.
Keanu Hill at tight end. Come on.
I want to see them utilize the tight end more. I want more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I want more. And I think it is going to be very interesting. When do we make or break on BYU fans supporting Jake Retzloff? When do we get that? Because I think that's
like
got
this.
to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's games like this where last year you lose this game, 100%. Last year you're not in this game, you lose this game, you just have no business competing in this one. This year, though, I think that I would agree they need to utilize the tight end more. But I think to utilize the tight end, to your point, you got to run the football. You got to open up the 10 to 15 yard route up the seam there. So to do that, you have to run the football. And I think that, SMU's quick, SMU's talented. I would say SMU is just as explosive as BYU is, but I'm just telling you, man, I think that if the play calling
just as explosive,
yeah,
3 plays over 20 yards for touchdowns for Mr. Retzlaff. The kid, they're explosive with Jake Retzloff at quarterback. And you have a quarterback controversy in Dallas with SMU. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how explosive their offense is and what BYU can do about that. But it's going to be, I think it'll all be about BYU's defense. I am not worried about Jake Retzloff. Preston Stone needs to come out. If you're SMU, you need Preston Stone to win that job this week.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to show out, in my opinion. Tanner Plummer, I was about to say BYU needs to dominate the line of scrimmage to keep SMU's offense on the sideline. They do. And the only thing that worries me about a guy like Jake and Aaron Roderick, you love watching that ball go through the air. Don't fall in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
Run the football. Help him be even cleaner in the pocket by running the football. Move him out a lot. Roll him out a lot. Keep him in motion. He's a dynamic runner. We'll see. Mike Smith, the greatness of Preston versus Jake. The clouds will be parted so God can watch the 2 best quarterbacks not named Cam Rising.
Stay hard.
I'm here for it. Yeah, Tanner. I do think Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator at BYU, is, I think Mitch Harper from KSL, who does an excellent job covering BYU football. I think he has asked Aaron Roderick some really good questions, and just listening to A-Rod talk, you can tell that this is not the same A-Rod.
No, there's actually a sense of urgency.
I think there is. And I think you have got to go into Dallas and you got to piss off some Texans. And you've got to be able to say, yep, we controlled the clock. We controlled the game. Because if you get a lead in this game, again, what am I going to say? Run the football.
Yeah.
Run the football, because SMU's offense is explosive, period. They can play a lot.
Keep the ball away from them.
They can play a lot. And I think one of the best parts and the worst parts about explosive offense is when you see Jake Retzloff against Southern Illinois, one of the better FCS teams in the country, going over the top, again, 3 scores at 20 yards or more. You want to be explosive. If you want to be explosive and run the ball, allow him to throw the ball to the flat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Use those underneath routes. Use those pick routes.
Do you guys see what we're talking about this year with Jake? We never had any of these conversations with Keaton. That never happened.
No,
he's not that guy.
But we weren't able to have the conversations with Jake last year either, Retzloff, because he wasn't in the playbook as much as he is in the playbook now.
Yeah.
Because of the tonsillitis, because of the surgery. He missed spring. He missed summer. He is not in the playbook. He commands the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the schematics. He knows everything. I love the iPads on the sideline because you can watch him working with receivers. Last week, him talking to the offensive line, and this offense is far ahead of where they were last year. So we'll see. D-Rock, why is Sharon Moore working without a contract? Bryce Martin, pissing off Texans ain't hard to do. Just ask any SMU fan.
Hey, you start talking shit.
SMU fans are quite thin-skinned, if you will. Mike Smith, get that running game going. Draw some of the secondary up in the box. Play action fake, long ball, touchdown, BYU.
And man, Jake is good at that play action fake, dude.
Well, and he's got two run. Rapati's a battering ram. And LJ Martin, I just love the guy if he can stay healthy. I wish he was bigger. I wish he needs to bulk. Bro, you're looking soft, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
Time to bulk.
Yeah.
Do you even lift?
Oak State James, Tanner, the Mustangs are for real. You keep saying that. Oh, Preston Stone. They are winning at home. I would admit it. If it was in Provo, I would pick BYU.
Well, Monty, if it was in Provo, that upper deck that BYU's building would make it so that BYU would win the ball game.
This could be a really bad weekend for you, James. Are you not concerned that Oak State's only 7.5 over
Monty,
Arkansas?
it's Ollie. It's the Ollie show. We're just going to run the football. It's going to be fine.
There's this vaunted Oak State defense. You're a 7.5 point favorite on a 62.5 point number.
Okay, that's not a good. No, dude, that's not a good combination right there. 7.5 on 62 points, bro.
But your defense is amazing.
That means you're giving up more than 20 to Arkansas.
But no, that's not possible. Oak State James and I have talked about this defense. And
because it's garbage.
It's better than Utah's defense. And it goes without saying, the defense isn't even half as good as the wide receiver room at Oak State, which is the best wide receiver room in the country.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude.
So
it's a wee fence.
The best part about being the host of this show is I don't have a dog in the Oak State fight. I don't have a dog in the Preston Stone as a pacifier fight.
I sifted through all that.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I know my team at Notre Dame sucks. I don't have a dog in the fight.
Could Marcus Freeman's pants be any tighter, dude?
Right? I mean, hey, if I was slung, I'd have tight pants too. Right? But my point is, the crash and burn job, like watching all the Michigan fans do their mea culpa now that Jimmy's got a 4-game show or a 4-year show cause with a 1-year suspension. Sharon Moore admitting to level 2 violations, not having a quarterback, all the Michigan fan mea culpa, the Ohio State fan walking around with a chub because of the transfer portal. It's amazing. Not having a dog in the fight is the best position to be in. You know, the eye patch. Monty has a bro crush on Retzloff. I don't. But the fact of the matter is it was never going to be Gary Bohannon.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's amazing to me is Jake Retzloff has been a superstar every level he has played at. And BYU fans are like, I saw the interception last year. He sucks. Okay. That's great. You were wrong about Gary, don't call me Jerry Bohannon. Oh, he's the guy. No, he was never the guy. Jake sucks. No, well, turns out he doesn't. He turns the ball over. Yeah, turns out he doesn't. Will he this week against SMU? Maybe. Has he? No. No, he hasn't. So, oh God, here it is. Oak State James, what do you think this is? And I haven't seen it yet. What do you think this is? I'm going to guess this is Preston Stone's a tasty pacifier.
No, I think that this is going to be a full-on defense fund of Oklahoma State. This is going to be, well, Monty, you just hate Oklahoma State, and we're really talented, and I understand that Ollie did some dumbass stuff.
Best
in the
wide receiver room
offseason.
ever.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I think it is.
Oak State James, stadium guy and lover of the Big 12 for $5. Please stop.
Please.
Notre Dame does not suck. Their quarterback needs to improve. He's like 39. What do you mean improve?
He's not their quarterback. He's a rental.
Yeah, he's Duke's quarterback. But they can run the ball and play great defense. I even laughed when Jake played Wii Fence. That's exactly what I've said about
It's a Wii fence.
Bro, you gave me $5 to read a comment that I've already said.
Like 4 times today.
Notre Dame has an elite defense. I think one of the top 5 defenses in the country.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Now, not as good as the wide receiver room at Oak State, but their defense is pretty good at Notre Dame.
No.
What have I said? Riley Leonard is not a national championship level quarterback. He cannot throw you to a win. And he can't stay healthy. How did Notre Dame win that game? It wasn't with Riley Leonard. I appreciate you. Marcus Freeman, fantastic defensive coach. Fantastic. Wet blanket, the Oak State hate is real. I don't hate Oak State.
It's not, dude. It's not hating on Oak State. It's holding Oklahoma State fan accountable for the dumb things they say on a seemingly daily basis. Saying that they have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country is asinine. That means that you don't know who Texas is. You don't know who USC is. You certainly don't know what BYU is.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
BYU.
Did you see what Judkins said from Ohio State? Dude goes, yeah, I've never, I only got the chance to play in front of 100,000 fans a couple times at Ole Miss. And now that I'm at Ohio State, it's nice to see 100,000 fans more than a couple times a season. I mean, that is shade, bro.
Major shade.
Like, that is major shade towards your former program. And that's what I'm saying for Oklahoma State fan. Like, don't tell me that this is somehow some top tier program. You're going to have to show me that number that is, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, I'd be pissed off by that number. 7.5 on a 62-point number. They're saying that you can't stop Arkansas. And they're saying that you're going to have to win the game on offense.
I'm telling you. I just love the fact that Texas is back. And Texas has a better wide receiver room than Oak State.
Good Lord.
Right? It's not hate, Wet Blanket. And I know that you love to talk about how much we don't know and do you even watch. And if you look at the wide receiver rankings, Oregon's probably got the best wide receiver room in the country. Ohio State, Texas, certainly. I think Ole Miss, BYU, all of them are better. Miami, Restrepo, what Restrepo did this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not put Restrepo, George Brown, hell, even Kansas? I mean, I think it's very difficult to, it's fine. D-Rock Irish. Is the Wrath of Khan still in the chat for Michigan? I don't know what that means.
That's a Ferris Khan reference.
I haven't seen Ferris here in I don't know how long, which is great because he never says anything. Tom Carb, Texas can only have so many wide receivers on the field at once.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, wet blanket. Oak State has one of the oldest experience coupled with one of the best coach teams. No, they're not one of the best coach teams. And again, I just will continue to say this to Oklahoma State fan. Mike Gundy is not an elite football coach.
No.
You don't have a quarterback. You don't. You have arguably the best running back in college football. Is Alan Bowman top 50 quarterbacks in the country? Probably not.
Man.
Is Alan Bowman top 8 quarterbacks in the Big 12? Alan Bowman or Jake Retzloff? Alan Bowman or Noah Fafita? Alan Bowman or Cam Rising? Alan Bowman or Avery Johnson?
Josh Hoover.
Alan Bowman or Josh Hoover? You don't have a quarterback. And last year, Oak State James just couldn't stop frothing at the mouth about how Alan Bowman's only a placeholder, bro. Okay.
Yeah, what happened to Gunner?
If you look at the Big 12, and you look at the quarterbacks in this league, this is a quarterback league, man. And we can sit here and hell, Levitt threw for 258 and 2 scores last week at ASU. Right? And I'm not saying that Alan Bowman is some terrible quarterback. You're not elite. And Mike Gundy saying stupid stuff like, well, negotiations are over. Saying stupid stuff like, oh, well, I've done that 1,000 times in my life. Not punishing Ollie Gordon for a DUI. He's not an elite coach. He's never been an elite coach. He's a coach that wins games in the regular season. And when he is over the top talented, which is rare, and you have a guy like a Brandon Weeden, okay, we can have that conversation. But the thing we do on this show, and it pisses so many of you off, we tell the truth on this show.
Mm-hmm.
How often are we just wildly wrong about Jim Harbaugh going to Los Angeles? Not only we had that story first, we had the money on that story first. How often are we wrong about the notice of allegations, or how often are we wrong about anything that we come out with a strong opinion on or a statement of fact? How often are we wrong on that? Oklahoma State is not an elite team. Alan Bowman is not an elite quarterback, and Mike Gundy is not an elite head coach. It's as simple as I can say it. And if you want to go tit for tat on Alan Bowman in this league, he's not top 8 quarterbacks in this conference. He's not even in the same conversation with a Cam Rising. I haven't even mentioned Shedeur Sanders yet. He's not in the conversation. So we can sit here and we can play games and we can...
I mean, so Shedeur, Cam Rising, Baron Morton, certainly. Jake Retzloff.
I would take all of them.
I would probably take Hoover over Bowman.
Avery Johnson's an interesting one.
Yeah, Avery Johnson's a reasonable comparison. I think Avery's, largely unproven.
I think that Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati, better quarterback than Alan Bowman. More capable quarterback. You look at
Green at West Virginia.
Pretty close. Rocco Becht at Iowa State, better quarterback than Alan Bowman. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Oh, dude at Kansas.
Jalen Daniels.
Yeah,
What do you
Jalen
mean?
Daniels.
What did you just say? Dude at Kansas?
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. Jalen
Why do you try to hurt my feelings?
Yeah, sorry, couldn't remember his name.
KJ Jefferson.
I think KJ has to prove he can win, but on a pure talent perspective, yeah, he's better. He's got a huge arm, really athletic, but he's got to prove he can win some ball games. So I'm going to say that's even.
I would agree. I'll take Hoover. I'll take Baron Morton. Make the argument. Make the argument. Tell me how wrong I am. Calford gifted 10 Monty Show membership.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Pick him up. Pick him up. Pick him up.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you. DK for $5. Texas would beat Oak State worse now than they did in the Big 12 championship
Well, that's
game.
the other thing, too. In the Big 12 championship game, Bowman just didn't show up.
But that's, again, Mike Gundy, this elite coach, generational, best coach we've ever seen, who admits to DUIs thousands of times.
Come on, dude.
Are you a better team this year at Oak State than you were last year? Yeah, I'm going to say no. Texas. Is Utah a better team this year than they were last year? By default, absolutely. Because you have an elite quarterback and now Brant Keithy back as well. So you got one of the best receivers and one of the best quarterbacks in the conference back.
Yeah.
I'm here for it on Mike Gundy. I'm here for it. And it's not that I don't, why on earth would I hate Oklahoma State? I don't. I'm tired of Mike Gundy's bullshit, dude. I'm tired of, we don't need Oklahoma. Do you understand that your entire existence is tied to Oklahoma?
No, he doesn't.
You get that, right? How much damage did you do to your brand by holding the door for Oklahoma walking out of the conference? Because turns out, yep, Utah's going to win the conference. Or likely to win the conference. It's, what do we know? It's week 2. Likely to win the conference. It's wild to me that you're so willing to support Mike Gundy without question. Without question. I don't get it. And Donuts, newest member of the Monty Show. Let's go, and Donuts. Good to see you. Appreciate all you guys being here today. Thank you. Point to the doll where Mike Gundy hurt you. If Rising can stay healthy. Exactly right. Exactly right. K-State lost by 1 point to Texas. Cool. Fat old Mormon and dying. Can't drink and drive without Poke vodka. The Poke's vodka.
Dude, come on. Come on.
You know. I don't. Yeah. Roundabout. We can all agree that KJ Jefferson was horrible against New Hampshire. Just not what you needed.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
That's
which is surprising for a Gus Malzahn quarterback, right? Like, that's surprising. Oak State James. QBs in the Big 12. 1 Cam Rising, 2 Shedeur Sanders. Avery Johnson, 3. Alan Bowman, 4. Jalen Daniels, 5. Get this right.
You've had way too
Avery
much
Johnson,
food, bro.
Avery Johnson, 3rd best when he's a 57% career passer. Yeah, I just, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, will Avery Johnson throw for 3,000 yards this year? Probably not. Will he complete 60% of his passes?
Definitely not.
He's
going to have to prove that.
Yeah, it is what it is. Roundabout. Dude looks like he has a piano on his back when he is in the Alan Bowman. Yeah. He's not mobile, certainly. And again, this is why I go back, and when you look at the biggest matchups, the first place you got to start is a quarter. Again, Texas, Michigan. The quarterback's going to win that game for Texas. Because I don't think Texas is scoring 40 points. Not Michigan, again, still a good defense.
Yeah.
I don't think, but if Texas gets more than a 10-point lead, just turn it off because the game's over. They would have to throw a pick 6 or have a strip sack for a touchdown. Something incomprehensible.
Let me be the a-hole in the room and say that great or quality Michigan defense still gave up 10 points to Fresno State. And when I say still gave up 10 points, if you look at the good teams in the country, they didn't give up any points. So that defense can be had, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see. Hey, maybe they'll ball out. Like you said, maybe they held some stuff back. Maybe there's more there. But
I would hope Michigan held stuff back.
Maybe they held some stuff back, but I'm not they're gonna have to show that.
Yeah, I'm hoping they held stuff back. Because if they didn't,
I mean the absolute terrible play call that led to that pick 6 at the end of that Michigan game. That's Texas is never doing that. You're never going to get that easy, play like that against Texas.
No, you're not. I would agree. Kevin K. Avery Johnson beat out Will Howard. He didn't.
And it's such a weak ass take too.
Yeah, we've talked about this. You can't judge Avery Johnson by his first game. Part of the blame is on the new offensive coordinator. It's going to take time.
I'm not judging him on his first game. I'm judging him on his numbers.
On his body of work.
Yeah. Like, the guy is proven to be a run-first guy, and he's proven to be someone who's sub 60% completion percentage.
What did Will Howard say on this show last year? He felt like he had to play hero ball. He felt like every throw had to be perfect or they were going to lose. And I think that played out. When Avery Johnson came in, was he a dramatically better quarterback? He wasn't. Were they a dramatically better offense? He wasn't. They weren't.
And by the way, if Will Howard is such a trash quarterback, why is he starting at Ohio State?
And dominating.
Dominating.
Now, and he straight up said, I actually have talent I believe in now. Right? Like, Ben Sinnott can't be your most, anyway. Will Howard, 17 of 28, 228 and 3 scores. Ran 4 times for 18 yards. And they only ran Travion Henderson 8 times. Quinshawn Junkins, 13 for 55, 4.2 and a touchdown. James People, and then you start looking at guys like Egbuka only had 4 catches. Carnell Tate, like Jeremiah Smith. Like, if you believe that you're a better offense because Will Howard couldn't be your quarterback, you're crazy. If you do not understand that there was a coach-player dynamic at work there, you're crazy. And if Will Howard sucks so bad, why did everybody want him? Why did everybody want him? Because he doesn't actually suck, and he didn't get beat out at K-State. Whoa, comment dump. Damian Fowler, did they schedule any college games tonight with there's not.
There's no Florida State, Georgia Tech standalone where Florida State can embarrass themselves again.
Yeah. Deb MC, I'm just wondering what the excuses will be for why Utah lost in Stillwater that Monday after.
Well, there's
see.
not going to be any excuses because, again, that defense is going to suffocate Ollie Gordon, and that defense is going to force Alan Bowman to throw, which is inevitably going to lead to an interception, which is inevitably going to lead to Utah pulling away.
And I think, listen, the game is the game. What happens on the field, it very rarely lies. Right? Ball don't lie. How games play out on the field is very much an indicator of who you are as a football team. Deion Sanders last year, did you guys see this fight?
Yeah.
With Deion's coaches? This might be the best example of which is, I don't even know how to describe this. This is Trevor Riley. Now, I know Trevor a little bit from my time covering the Jita Jits.
Yeah. Watch it. He gonna catch it like Neil. Call it like Neil. He caught it with the elbow.
This is, by the way, that's
Warren
Trevor Riley in red.
Then Trevor look back and he attacking when he ain't looking. He said, "You hit like boom." Hold on, here we go. Boom.
Good night now.
Boom.
So now, of course, all the haters of Colorado are like,
Wait. These are 2 assistant coaches last year, Trevor Riley and a grad assistant, having a fist fight. Trevor Riley tried to walk away. The grad assistant threw a sucker punch, and Trevor Riley beat his ass. On tape, on campus at Colorado.
And all the haters are saying, oh, well, Deion's facilitating a culture of violence.
It's a fight club mentality.
It's a fight club, and this is incredible. How could this be taking place?
Should Warren Sapp be narrating fight tapes?
Yeah. Watch it. He gonna catch it like Neil. Call it like Neil.
Listen, that's Warren Sapp. Now a defensive line. Trevor Riley in red. Look at him faking. Watch him walk away.
Then Trevor look back and he attacking when he ain't looking. He said, "You hit like boom."
Trevor Riley engaged.
Hold on, here we go. Boom. Boom.
And he beat wholesale ass. Trevor Riley is an absolute cowboy. That's not somebody you want to throw a sucker punch at. But my point in all of this is, what happens on the field doesn't lie. And you look at Colorado last year, their meltdown, we watched it on the field. Right? We watched it on the field. If Oak State wants to win the Big 12, they've got to beat Utah at home. What is that, 3 weeks from now, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to beat Utah at home in Stillwater. It's as simple as it is. And we can sit here and hyperbolize. If Oak State wins that game, the conference gets flipped on its ear. And we'll see who's healthy and whatnot when we get to that game. It's a must win. But my question is, when you don't go to the college football playoff this year, if you're Oak State and you don't go, will you finally, Deb MC and everybody else, will you finally come in here and acknowledge the fact that Mike Gundy is no longer and likely has never been an elite football coach? Will we at some point get to a place in time where Oak State fan holds Mike Gundy accountable for something, I mean anything ever? Lincoln Riley is in year 3 and they wanted to fire him after last year. Right? And you're willing to hang on to a guy who said he's done it 1,000 times? And negotiations are over? and who still has not brought in an elite quarterback to replace his son. Come on. Like, what are we even talking about? That was a bitch slap. Dude, you don't throw a sucker punch at Trevor Riley. T.O. needs to join Colorado staff at some point. I think he's doing a great job with Travis Hunter. And Jimmy Horn, dude, that's it. That is the best 1-2 receiver combo in the country. I mean, yeah. Warren Sapp is perfect for narrating fights. He really is.
I love how he's like, here we go.
Because Riley walked away. Like, I'm not doing this.
Who is Warren Sapp? Joe Rogan? Like, come on, bro.
And then the grad assistant throws a punch when Riley's not looking. And then Riley knocked you the f- out, which was amazing. Don't mess with the cowboy hat, bro. Yeah, notice the sucker punch didn't take the cowboy hat off. I don't know. Hyperbolized, is that a word? I don't know if that's a word. It is now.
Hyperbolisms?
Hyperbole. Big Daddy Magic.
Bro,
It's not basketball season.
Bro, I haven't seen you in like how long?
He's DMing me yesterday talking about how Caleb Williams sucks and Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the NFL and we're winning a Super Bowl and Shamir Harmon is going to start at safety. And bro, listen, I don't have a dog in the Josh Allen fight. He's not a big game quarterback.
Did you guys see that Diggs came out and said that his time that last year in Buffalo was one of the worst mental health years of his career?
Ever. Mike Smith, if you really loved Victor, you would buy him another cowboy hat. Exactly. San Diego State Glenn, hyperbolized. I'm still scratching my head over W saying rotisserate back in the day. Exactly. Mike Gundy admitted to drinking a lot in his 20s. He does not do that now. He said he had 6 beers 1,000 times in his life. I believe. Do we still have that quote? No. I believe that's what he said. We don't have that video anymore. But he's like, I've done that 1,000 times in my life.
Must have done that 1,000 times.
Utah and Oak State will both make the playoff. No, they won't. This league's getting 1, maybe 2 in, and it won't be Oak State. Can I just ask, what have you seen from Oak State that makes them a playoff team? I don't know either. I haven't seen and I again maintain in week 0 and week 1, it doesn't matter who you play. It's how you beat their ass that matters. Florida. Let's talk about good old Napes.
Bro, this is getting worse by the day for dude.
Gator fans are raising money to try and pay off Billy Napier. They have a GoFundMe to help send Billy Napier to early retirement. $26 million goal.
Dude.
But here's the question.
Savage.
Can you fire good old Napes when DJ Lagway is now your starting quarterback because Graham I suck Mertz? Who are you, Alan Bowman? Because Graham Mertz has a concussion and DJ Lagway is now playing. And he does tend to, in game tape, have an odd throwing motion. But this kid is an early enrollee who went through spring and summer. And some say he won the job in fall camp. Who's now going to start this week for Florida? Because what happens if you fire Napes? Now, Lagway's going to go away too.
Yeah. What does it do? Opens up the portal.
It's going to be really interesting to see how DJ plays this weekend. But can we stop saying like this? You're the best. SEC gets 4 teams. Big Ten gets 3. ACC gets 2. Miami, by the way, Notre Dame's not in the ACC. Breaking news. Tell us without telling us. And the Big 12 gets 2. The Big 12 is the ACC won't get 2 in.
Yeah, I think you need to amend your statement there to 4-4 for the SEC and the Big 10. Big 12 is getting 1. ACC is getting 1.
And then you're getting Notre Dame and a G5.
That's
Because you got to remember the G5 gets a spot too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Big 10 won't get 3. The question is, because Michigan's not a playoff team, are you telling me I would think Ohio State wins the conference? I would think Oregon gets in. The real question is, how good's Washington? Is Washington a college football playoff team?
Yeah, because I think people forget about Washington. So it's like if Michigan and Penn State are not in, you're going to need Washington and Oregon and SC to step up.
And I don't know that I don't think Washington's at this moment. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, put them in. I would not feel comfortable saying that. But you look at Boise, Tulane, and Memphis, that's going to be a dogfight. That's going to be a dogfight. And I wonder, does Tennessee get in? I don't know. And I look at other Big Ten contenders. I don't know that there's another Big Ten contender. Because if I put in Penn State, if I put in, obviously, Ohio State, who's the second best team in the Big Ten right now? I'd have to say Penn State. I'm putting in Oregon. And then I'm asking, does USC get in?
Yeah, I think SC's getting in.
You better hope Miller Moss is just the second coming of Mark Sanchez.
Well, if you can win that game, if you can win the LSU game, you can find a way to win other games.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Tennessee a lot. I was really impressed with Missouri.
But see, like Tennessee doesn't have the brand value that SC has. You know what I mean? Like Tennessee's going to have to prove it.
That who has?
That SC, that USC has. Like
Tennessee's a blue blood, man. Like, I mean, I think
more than SC?
the All-State playoff predictor has a 49.9% chance that Tennessee gets in. You're crazy if you think the Big Ten's only getting 3. You don't stack the deck. You don't stack the deck and then don't take advantage of it. Is USC back? Do they get in? I think it's close. James, Big Ten gets Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, or Washington. Guy, do you watch fucking college? Excuse my French. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? You think either Penn State or Washington? You seriously? I disagree with that 100%.
Yeah, see, James, you're showing your lack of homework here, bro. This comment, with all due respect, I'm not even hating on you. I'm just saying that comment is a national headline reader comment, because the national headlines are going to tell you, oh yeah, Oregon's great. You know, they're going to be in. You know, Penn State's are, I think, 8 right now, if memory serves, in the AP. You know, so like Penn State's going to be in. But what do we know about James Franklin? Falls on his face late in the year. And we also know.
Who are you, Mike Gundy?
Yeah. We also know that and this is the USC problem. We also know that big wins early in the year don't necessarily hold their weight towards the end of the year. So USC's fight is going to be that, hey, yeah, we did beat LSU in our week 1, but who did you lose to in the middle of the year, and who was your bounce back win at the end of the year? If USC beats Notre Dame in the final week of the season, is that going to be a big win? Is that going to be a huge win? Or is Notre Dame, going to be mediocre and we're not sure? That's what I'm talking about.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're underselling, but that's just me. This TRC, Monty is showing his 0 homework. Tennessee, a blue blood. Guy, they've almost won 900. I think they've won 865 games. They've been playing football for 130 years? Yeah, they're a blue blood. You don't have to like it. But Tennessee, I mean, how many, do you understand that's wild to me. You really don't think that Tennessee's a blue blood? I said 130 years of football.
Yeah, I think the problem for Tennessee right now is that and I agree with you. You know, you have
Johnny Majors, Phil Fulmer.
you have to classify
Robert
him
Nealon.
as a blue blood, but the problem is that again they suffer from the fact that they haven't done a lot of winning lately. So modern day college football fan doesn't know Tennessee is like a staple.
Okay. I think they're in the SEC. How easy is it to win lately?
Yeah, well, but but again, with all
And
due-
blue blood
like,
doesn't mean that they've won lately. It means that they've won for they've won 8. Guy, they're pushing 900 wins. 900 wins. I said 900 wins.
mhm.
Look at guys like Reggie White, Johnny Majors, Peyton Manning. Look at their are you out of your mind? They're Hall of Famers. And we're just, you know, that's wild to me.
You know,
It's crazy to me that we don't. They've won 900 games.
Marty, that's not as many as the Mullet's going
my
to win.
God. Like I mean, they've won. Do you guys understand that they've won 6 national championships? Do you guys understand that they lay claim to 12 national championships? And they've won 16 conference championships, 13 of them in the SEC. 41 All-Americans,
Bro,
consensus.
I didn't know that you were so passionate about Tennessee.
I hate that we do that. Oh, Tennessee. Well, I don't, I'm 31 years old. I
This is
don't
the
know.
Nebraska syndrome.
I've never heard of. Who's Tom Osborne? Who, Trev Alberts? He's an athletic director. What do you mean, Trev? Tommy Frazier? What's a blood clot? Lawrence Phillips? He's a murderous jerk who died in prison. Like, do you have any? You millennials. I have no idea. D1S TRC. I have no idea how old you are. They've won 900 games. And you're just, You're it's wild. How many natties? 12. Oh, I know. Have you ever been to Neyland? Yes. 100,000 seat Neyland Stadium, Rocky Top. Nah, they're not a blue blood. Okay. 900 games. Then if they're not, your boys at SC are not. If they're not, if Tennessee's not a blue blood, neither is USC, because USC hasn't won a thing lately.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Bro, this is a total role reversal for you.
I am amazed. Yeah, I'm usually the guy that's defending USC. It's come on. Osborne, lead singer of Black Sabbath? Yes, exactly. Oh my God. That's crazy to me. I think it's one of those things where we just love to hate because we don't know any better.
Look what he's saying too. Right below the
What?
comment you're on right now. This D1, whatever the guy's name
They
is.
haven't been peak Tennessee since what, 19? Are you guy? I can't. Maybe you've heard of Peyton Manning. Maybe you've heard of Peyton Manning. Maybe the fact that Josh Heupel's gone to 3 straight bowl games. Oh, what? 3 straight bowl games. And we're just gonna write them off.
What's been their record the last couple of seasons? But just their overall record. Have they been a 10-win team at all?
And we're just gonna
9-win team.
We're just gonna write them off. I am amazed by that. I'd have to pull up their year-by-year record, but like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
That you think that they're not because they don't what is the measure of a blue blood? If it ain't Tennessee, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm
telling you, this is the classic. Hey, they just haven't won enough lately, so people don't look at them that way right now.
Josh Heupel, 7-6, 11-2, 9-4.
Solid. That's solid.
Right?
Especially in the SEC.
887 wins in the history of their program.
Does it tell you when the last national championship was?
Yeah, well, of course. Phil Fulmer, 10-4, right? Like you look at Phil. You look at Phil Fulmer, and that was probably the last time that they were 1998, 13-0, 8-0, win the Fiesta Bowl, right? That's the last time that they were dominant. But Phil Fulmer, 10-4 in 2007, like they had the Lane Kiffin year. And Phil Fulmer retired, and until now with Josh Heupel, they haven't been the same. Admittedly, the Jeremy Pruitt, Butch Jones, Derek Dooley. But now we're too deep in it. Steve Stepanek, K-State has a history of pre-Snyder as Fidelity U. Okay. Okay. That's fine. You know. Fat Old Mormon, Tennessee is a blue blood, but old Josh Heupel does suck. We can all agree on that. He's doing a pretty good job of eating ham hocks because that dude's got 9
remember,
chins.
they're in the SEC, dude. Like,
Yeah,
that's tough.
That's
bro.
what I'm saying.
That's tough, dude. 9 wins in the SEC is really good.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that all shakes off. All right, NFL kickoff tonight. Let's talk about it. Thanks to our friends at Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com. We're almost 2 hours into the show. And I got a little carried away with Tennessee. Time flies when people say stupid stuff. Prize Picks, PrizePicks.com. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. They're going to give you $50. $50 if you open a new account, deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. You can play for the entire football season on $55. Trust me when I say that. Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. It is so easy to download, so much fun to play. And again, Caleb Williams is half a passing yard. Go get it. Half a passing yard. That's a win. I'll even give you the formula. You make 3 selections, and it's half a passing yard, less or more. You're going to pick more. You do 3 of those, flex play it for $5, boom, you're going to win. Because on a flex play, you only got to win 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Baltimore Ravens taking on America's most overrated barbecue, the Kansas City Chiefs. Can the Chiefs three-peat? It's a very interesting question. I don't believe they can. I think it is one of the most difficult feats to pull off in sports. A three-peat at any level in any sport, almost impossible. In the NFL, it's unheard of. It's so rarely ever done. The Cowboys, the Niners, like the greats of the greatest greats do it. But I think they're still going to be very, very, very good.
Yeah, I think that the three-peat proposition, it's difficult to say they'll three-peat with confidence just because it's the NFL. And like you said, it's difficult to do. But I think, Patrick Mahomes is obviously already a Hall of Famer. Obviously, walking into, territory of like, hey, this is one of the greatest quarterbacks the game's ever seen because of how much he's won. So, I think it's possible, but unlikely. That's how I would describe it. Unlikely. I think, for this game tonight, the way I look at this is, number one, it's at Arrowhead. So that's the first thing. Where are we playing the game? At Arrowhead. So you got to give the edge to the Chiefs just on that alone. Number two, though, and this has always been my gripe with the Baltimore Ravens. They're a hell of a team. They're an AFC juggernaut. They're a team that's always in the playoff picture with their current roster, with Lamar and company. The problem is that Lamar Jackson is not skilled enough in the passing game to win you the big game. Can he cause havoc and can he go out and win regular season, individual awards? Yes. But I'm not going to sit here in week 1 of the NFL season and tell you, oh, yeah, I believe Lamar's going to go into Arrowhead, throw for 350. Derrick Henry's going to run for 80 and 2 touchdowns, and they're just going to stroll in there and it ain't going to be no big deal. I don't believe that at all. And the reason I don't believe it is because Steve Spagnuolo and that Kansas City defense are terrifying. They're the complexity, the way they disguise. I think that's going to give Baltimore fits tonight. And on Prize Picks, I have my setup for this specific game tonight is Patrick Mahomes on a demon for more than 299.5 passing. I think he has a big night. I think they come out. I think this is a 30-point game for them. And I think that, Pat has a big night. I think Pacheco has a nice night. I've got him for more than 2.5 receptions in this game. And I've got Derrick Henry to have more than 65.5 yards, because I think that the Ravens are going to lean on him a lot, because they are going to have to open up that defense a little bit. And that's how you do that. So that's how I think this game goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Derrick Henry impacts Lamar Jackson. Because if Lamar Jackson has more time and space, he is a capable thrower. I just don't buy into him being a championship level quarterback. And again, I'm sure this is more outrageous than Tennessee's a blue blood, but I think when you look at the way that Lamar Jackson impacts games, Derrick Henry should really supplement that. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how Lamar Jackson acclimates with a power running game, because I don't know that we've ever seen that. A consistently elite running back behind Lamar Jackson. I don't know that we've ever seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Ingram, maybe, like, they've had some guys back there. I just don't know that we have any idea of what Lamar Jackson's top end really is. I think Kansas City probably wins this game. You give Andy Reid 6 weeks to run up to anybody, and he's probably going to win that game. But more than the win and the loss, I want to see how Derrick Henry impacts Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about that. I think Kansas City is going to be good again. I think Baltimore is always stout and always physical. Again, those linebackers, I think I'd probably lean Kansas City here, but again, I am not passionate about it at all.
Really?
Not at all. I think I like Kansas City. It's at home.
What do you make of Xavier Worthy tonight? You think Xavier Worthy has a big night?
I wonder how healthy he's going to be. He's starting to turn into this cat that I'm more interested in what Justin Tucker's going to do with his pregame warm-up than I am with Xavier Worthy. Do you guys remember that? The Chiefs are trying to warm up, and Justin Tucker keeps kicking into their area and putting his tee and ball set up in their area pregame, and Mahomes threw it into the sideline. And I think it'll be interesting, but I don't know. Does Xavier Worthy play a big part of this offense?
I think so. I think they're going to try and I think they're going to throw him right into that Tyreek Hill role. I think they want him to, because the problem was that last year defenses were able to key on Travis Kelce because they didn't really have an over-the-top guy on that offense. And so I think, whether Xavier Worthy actually has big numbers tonight, I'm not sure. I mean, that, it's the first game, his first regular season NFL game. Who the hell knows? But I do think the threat of his speed will have an impact on the game.
Yeah, but what is their defense without L'Jarius Sneed?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you still have Chris Jones there, Nick Bolton's there, Trent McDuffie's there. You've got guys on that Chiefs defense. What is the Chiefs defense without L'Jarius Sneed, who they probably don't win that game if the Zay Flowers play doesn't happen?
Right.
So what is Kansas City's defense? I think that's a big question. Rookie wide receivers, they've got to prove that they belong in this league. And I think Xavier's had a lot of leg injuries. We saw it at Texas at the end. We've seen it through training camp. I don't know. I'm not ready to sit here and say that this is all of a sudden, an amazing offense because he's on the team. I'm more interested. Their offense is going to be fine.
Right.
I'm more interested in their defense. And you paid a bunch of dudes. And again, I don't know if L'Jarius just didn't want to be there. If that'll be a very curious storyline all year, because I think he's a difference maker. I think he's a big time difference maker. And I think the Chiefs, I believe that Andy Reid's an elite offensive schemer, and I think it's very difficult if you are the Ravens to win that game in Kansas City. The Chiefs fans are going to be lit.
Well, you're gonna have to run the football, and that's the thing. If you're a Ravens fan, you're looking at this game and saying, "Hey, like, we're probably not just gonna roll out and run it for 5 yards of carry on this defense, but if we can get 3.5, 4 yards of carry, be 2nd and 5 all night, we should be able to move the football." Does Lamar throw a pick tonight? Can you create an extra possession for Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, that's right. Gus Edwards isn't there anymore. Man, they have a lot on Derrick Henry. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of changes on that Ravens roster. And if you look at, again, not to keep vacillating, I want to see Lamar Jackson's influence on a game grow because King Henry's behind him. And if that happens, maybe, I don't think it's a blowout. This feels like a 28-24 game. Field goal game, maybe a late field goal game. And if we're talking about field goals, I'm going to root against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
iPatch says -3, Kansas City 31-28. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryce. Xavier Worthy was never Mr. Healthy when he was at Texas. Always some kind of injury. Always. Main event. Glass, Kelsey, Chris Jones didn't even play in that first game against the Lions. If Derrick Henry can stay healthy, another big question. But was he playing for anything the last several years in Tennessee?
No. I mean, the guy could have had a bruise and jumped on the injury report.
Yeah. We'll see. It'll be. I'm looking forward to it. I am really looking forward to that game. I'm looking forward to. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this football season. Like, there are a lot of things that excite me about this season, and this is one of them. I don't think there's a dynasty right now.
Oh, I think the Chiefs are a dynasty.
If they win this third one, I think their dynasty's coming to a close because I don't see them winning another Super Bowl. Not right now, not the way this team's built.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do it. And the NFC is so good this year. How good are the Detroit Lions?
That division's loaded.
Yeah, I think people like to tell you it's loaded.
You
don't have a quarterback in Minnesota. I mean,
yeah, but the Lions are going to be good. The Packers are going to be good. The
Bears are the Packers really going to be good?
Yeah, the Packers are going to be a playoff team, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with the camp that says 55 for Jordan Love is an outrageous number based on what he's not done, but that's the market. So he got paid. I think they're a playoff team. Whether that's wild card or through the division, I don't know. But I think they get into the playoffs. And I think that, the Bears, I think their route is through the wild card. That's where I'm not sure the Bears are good enough to beat, the Lions straight up. Not sure you're good enough to beat the Lions straight up. I think you can beat the Packers, but I'm not sure you can beat the Lions. And I think the problem is that, you look at the Bears and it's like, yeah, there's all this hype around Caleb Williams, but that defense should be pretty good too. And so the question's going to be, number one, can you stay healthy? Because that's the number one question in the NFL. Can you stay healthy? But then number two, how much better does the offense get as they start playing games? What does Caleb Williams, look like in a regular season game against the opposition's best talent?
And I think Detroit's defense got better, which is scary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're another 12-win team. I mean, adding guys like Marcus Davenport, Carlton Davis, Robertson, DJ Reader, Terrion Arnold, now you lost CJ Gardner-Johnson, Will Harris, you lost some dudes, but their defense is better. Jared Goff is a good, he's an elite passer and a good quarterback. That division's going to be tougher. I think the Bears defense is the best defense in the NFC. I don't know if they'll keep on this upward trajectory. They had chances to get, if they'd have gotten Judon, this would have been a different conversation. I'd have told you the Bears will win the division with Judon. But I think that Caleb Williams is obviously a huge upgrade. I don't believe in, at this point, Jordan Love's going to have to prove it. I believe in Detroit's defense, which is why I think Detroit wins the division. But you're really telling me that Minnesota is somehow better than their 7-10 last year? Without, Danielle Hunter, Alexander Madison, Osborne, Davenport, who I just talked about, Jordan Hicks is gone. Their defense isn't better, right? I mean, J.J. McCarthy isn't an NFL quarterback, and now he's hurt. He's out for the year.
Yeah.
So you're going with a guy in Sam Darnold who is not proven to be a franchise quarterback. You're telling me that all of a sudden they're a playoff team? They're not better than the 7-10. I think they're a 5 to 6 win team.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as I can say it. And I think that their defense, I think Dallas Turner is going to be a stud. But I don't buy it with the NFC North being the best division in football. I think, or the AFC North. Hello, NFC North. I think the NFC West is going to be a very interesting division. I don't know. We could go round and round about it, and we will.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the NFC North. So many people have said that. Like, you're just rubber stamping the Green Bay Packers because of what Jordan Love did against a bad defense in Dallas at the end of the year.
In a playoff game, had to have it, and it was on the road.
Yeah, but that game was never even a game.
Well, he still did it. Like, I mean, we could be sitting here saying he didn't do it.
But what did he immediately turn around and do?
Yeah, I agree. But he showed you he's at least capable. Like, he showed you that, hey, like, you put him in a good position, he's going to make the throw. You're going to have the completion. You're going to be able to make the play. Yeah. I'm not saying that he's like Jordan Love is. It's very clear what Jordan Love is. He is a serviceable guy. He's better than Sam Darnold. He's better than a lot of the starters in the league, but he's not, your A1 bona fide franchise guy.
He's he should have been made the highest paid quarterback in football. That's absurd.
Yeah.
That is absurd. And I don't know. Maybe
all I'm saying with Jordan Love is he's capable of getting you to the playoffs. He's not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. He's not, like, I'd rather have Jared Goff. I'd rather have Caleb Williams, even though Caleb's not played a snap in the NFL yet. Like, he projects to be a very good quarterback. Like, the question really is, like, would you rather have, Jordan Love or would you rather be taking a flyer on a veteran, that's maybe got some injury history? And the Green Bay Packers opted for reliability. They wanted somebody to just be in that spot. Hey, you're the guy. We're going to pay you, and we're going to worry about other stuff on the roster, which is fine. I get it.
It is.
I get it.
It is. It's fine. But I don't know. I was far less impressed with his 194 and 2 picks against San Francisco than I was with what he did against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's who
one
he
of the
is.
Best defenses in the league.
I think that's who he is. I think he's a 200-yard per game guy against good teams. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right that the Niner defense is elite. But isn't that what it takes to win Super Bowls?
It is. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We're agreeing on who Jordan Love is. He will take you to the playoffs, but he's not good enough to get you past, in his case, the NFC Championship game.
We'll see the Niners are going to win that division. Mm-hmm. Verticality in Arizona. We'll see if little guy Kyler.
I love how everyone's like, oh, this is his comeback year. This is the year. Look for Kyler Murray to win an MVP. Okay, sure, right.
I really want to see what Atlanta is. I think the Falcons are interesting. I think the NFC East with the Giants getting much, much better.
Mm-hmm.
I think Saquon could be one of the biggest swing and misses. Or he could be a game changer in Philadelphia, but Sirianni's not a good coach.
Are the Eagles still a mess?
I think they are still a mess. But I think Dallas is going to be better. I think Dak is going to walk away from them, and this is going to be a huge year for him. I think the Bears, Lions, and Packers can win every game they play in. I have no idea what to make of the Saints. And why would I believe in the Saints? But Tampa is going to be competitive again. Like, I just think the NFC is I think Cleveland misses the playoffs. I don't understand the love affair with the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh's going to be bad. I think that is Baltimore's division until Joe Burrow shows that he can play a full season. I love Bo Nix in Denver. I think Bo Nix is Sean Payton's quarterback. I think the Chiefs are good. I have no idea what to think of the Raiders.
Mhm.
I don't know that they'll score enough points.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers will be much, much better. Dolphins will be better. Patriots are going to suck. Jets are going to be better.
You got people, dude, you got people picking the Jets to beat the 49ers this week. Come on, bro.
Come on.
The guy's got to show he can still play.
Yeah.
Like,
and donuts. Chargers going with a fullback run heavy offense. They are like their fullback is a 400-pound or is it 500? No Steelers, no Eagles. Boo. That's fine. Big Daddy Magic. Josh Allen is the franchise quarterback, the greatest show on turf.
yeah, that never wins anything.
And nobody. How does he get the pass? Justin Fields throws too many interceptions. Josh Allen gets a pass for it.
Because Josh Allen is doing it in the AFC Championship game. That's why he's getting a pass.
Yeah, maybe. Cowpoke Ranch. In the NIL era, I don't think the blue blood status holds as much water as it used to. Oh, certainly not. Certainly not. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Certainly not. Don't forget about Canyons Golf, the official golf club of the Monty Show. Canyons Golf in Park City Mountain Resort, Canyons Village. That's where you find Canyons Golf. And I have this big Indian wedding this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I will not be at Canyons Golf.
Right.
I'm very interested. Oh, my wife just is going to Starbucks. Don't forget that pumpkin spice latte.
Whatever.
So I'm already tired of pumpkin spice. Canyons Golf. There's a Starbucks in the village at Canyons. I'm going to this huge Indian wedding this weekend. So I will not be playing Canyons this weekend, unfortunately. I'll live. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I love about Canyons, again, man, you get a hold of a driver, and last Sunday was probably the best driver round I've had in some time. Just banging driver. You're playing at Canyons. The par fours are very reachable. You're on in two, depending on how your wedge game is. And I've got the PXG Sugar Daddies rocking and rolling. Although I will say that my wedge game, I need to find a night where the air quality is not horrendously bad. Hey, did you guys see that Utah's air quality is the 5th worst on the planet?
Yeah, maybe if Idaho wasn't
right
on
now,
fire, we wouldn't have to deal with that.
It's brutal. But that's the other great thing about Canyons Golf. It's in Park City. You're at 8,000 feet. The air is crisp and clear and clean, and it is awesome. I love playing in the mountains. The fairways are lush and green. The greens are challenging but receptive at Canyons. I love it. Play driver, play short iron or wedge, birdies. If I can shoot a 77 is my best score on that course. I can shoot a 77. Trust me, you can play that course.
Yeah.
I love it. And I will shout out Blake
Balake.
Blake on Insta Snapface yesterday sent me a message where he was saying, I would beat your ass routinely in golf. You think you're the best at everything. And then he goes on to tell me that he drives the ball 360 yards and he routinely drives par fours. And he was telling me, And so I said, send me a video. Never heard from him. Hey, man, if you're routinely driving the ball 360 yards and you're not shooting in the low 70s, how good can you really be? He says, and this is the other thing I love about golf guys specifically. I drive the ball 360 yards. I'll beat your ass. I'm a 15 handicap. Let me ask you something. You drive the ball 360 yards routinely, and you're a 15 handicap. You can't putt. You can't chip.
If you drive the ball 360 yards routinely and you're a 15 handicap, your second shot is garbage and your putting's even worse. Like,
Do you got like that's the kind of thing that I love about the game of golf. I don't care if you're better than me because I'm not competing against you. I'm competing against me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drive the ball 360 yards. My best drives are usually, on average, I would say I'm 280 on the regular.
And that's in the valley.
When I'm driving the ball well, like Sunday, I legit had a 400-yard drive. Now, it's in thinner air. It's at altitude, little downhill. But I can do that 1 out of every 100 driver swings in the right conditions. My best drive on the regular, 320, 330 yards. I can hit the ball far. But I know the same thing that everybody else knows. You win and you lose. You score and you don't score inside of 100 yards.
Yep.
So your approach shot, why did I shoot in the 80s over the weekend? Because my wedges were horrendous. Terrible wedges last weekend. My 54 degree, I sculled a ball off a building. I probably shouldn't even bring the shit up, but I sculled a ball from, I think it was 105 yards to the pin. I sculled a ball so bad, I think it went 200 yards and hit a building. It hit a building.
Bam.
And it was like 200 yards over, just shot over the green. And I was playing with a bunch of people and we were like, how the hell did that happen? Then I dropped another ball within like 12 feet.
So when you want to be a hard ass in good old Marty's DMs and say that you're going to beat his ass and you drive the ball 360, but you're a 15 handicap, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like none.
Yeah. Kevin K for $5. Monty, have you ever tried hitting same length clubs before like Bryson? What do you mean? Same length clubs? Curious to try it. Every club is the same length.
Yeah. So for Bryson, what Bryson's done is he has those 3D printed irons.
Yeah.
Every club is the same length, but he's manipulated the face or whatever they did so that it plays the same, I guess.
Man, I don't even know. So
basically,
is that what you mean, Kevin?
He's hitting the ball in the same spot in his stance every single time.
How would
and the club changes
How would you even do that? I don't even know how you would do that. And I'm banging my long irons right now. I am hit long irons. I only have one, my 5-iron, but I hit I don't know. It was the greatest driver and wood week I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I made a hosel adjustment on my 4-wood and my hybrids. There is the 7th hole at Canyons is you hit it. If you hit it 300 yards, which I think I did, I hit a 5-iron within 3 feet of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's the cool thing with irons, though. Like, that's the one thing I love about good iron play is even if you're hitting the 5-iron or the 4-iron, like if you hit it well, it's going to go the way it should. It should go really high and then really plop on the green, really pancake.
But Sunday, I hit a 4-wood with no wind, or I was shocked. It legit went 300 yards. And it's the greatest feeling in the world. And for me, it's all been spine angle. Mm-hmm. I've really worked on keeping, because when I struggle with my irons, I video a lot of my swings. So I've really been watching video of myself, which is painful.
Yeah.
I'm good on the backswing. I've really worked into a decent backswing, which could improve, but I've gotten to a point where I have a consistent backswing. And I noticed that I was kind of coming out of my swing on the irons. And so I incorporated that swing thought and feeling of staying in the shot to all of my clubs. And it's completely changed the way I hit the driver,
comes off different.
The woods, the hybrid, the irons. Like it is crazy. And I've really taught myself working with Darren Ingram, who is the teaching pro. He's the director of golf at Canyons. He got to me very early this year with rotation and actually turning my shoulders at the top of my golf swing. That's where all of my change happened. And then just trying to consistently get through that swing. And Sunday, I hit a forward that I've never hit that consistent. I had a hybrid that must have gone 255, 260 with a 19 hybrid. Just wild how much better. And I do think it is the great thing about PXG clubs is you get a lot of hosel adjustments you can make. And I've really worked through, because at one point I was hitting the ball too high. And so now I've really figured it out and just crushing. So my driver, if I'm anything over 280, I'm hitting a wedge into the green.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, par fives, Glenmore, there's a par 5 on the 345. The 5th hole at Glenmore Golf Club in South Jordan is a par 5. And if you can hit through the turn, it's a dog right. If you hit through the turn, you're probably 200 yards to the green. And if I hit that drive well, I generally am 170 yards to the green on a par 5. So it's an 8-iron.
8-iron.
Yeah. Well, if I'm 250, 260, I'm hitting a 5-iron. And I've got that 5-iron. It's great, dude. It is. Golf is, that's what my wife asked me, why do you love golf? And I said, because it's hard. It is hard. It is difficult. That's what I meant. That's what I love about golf. That's what I love about golf. Kevin K says, yes, that's what I meant. I couldn't imagine all my clubs being the same length.
Yeah, and Bryson's always been a little different. Like, he's always been the guy that experiments and, like, does things a little differently. So, I mean, it's, he just, yeah.
I don't know. Roundabout, what is that like hitting a pitching wedge with a long shaft? I have no idea what that would be like.
But because what he'd have to do is he'd have to increase the loft. If the club is the same length, you would then have to put more loft into the club face.
Well, and I would think that you then have to change how much power you're putting through the ball, and more power to him, because the guy is one of the best golfers in the world.
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Roundabout, I think they're all about the length of a 7-iron, if I'm not mistaken, even his driver.
Yeah, I can't do that, dude.
I don't think I could do that. Giggity, I miss playing golf. So do I. Kevin K, I agree, Roundabout. I'd really like to try it. I'd try it, Calford, Scotty Scheffler has the craziest swing, but it works for him because nobody's swing is the same.
I was going to say, that's the other thing with golf. Nobody's swing is the same.
Nobody's swing is the same. You've got to find a way to hit the ball straight. Like, one of the things Darren has kind of cemented in my brain is hit the ball straight. Then worry about fading and it's why my driver the last 2 weeks has been far better, because I'm finally hitting the ball straight. 5-iron is my favorite by favorite. I can hit a 5-iron a mile. And if I can get 220, 230 on my 5-iron, the game becomes much easier. Much, much easier. DVDV, since golf is so hard, how rare is it for Steph to be great at basketball and quite decent at golf? Very rare.
Yeah.
Hockey players usually are the ones that can do it, because hockey players already have that bend in their side and they have a natural rotation to hit a slap shot is the exact thing almost as a golf shot. It's very mentally, it's your brain wired the exact same way.
Very similar.
Yeah. Roundabout, that's why club fitting is so important if you want to be successful at golf. Go see my guy Garrett in Provo at PXG.
If you're someone that just golfs like one time a month, I wouldn't go get fit. That's a waste of your time. It's not worth, like, if you're just going to go out one time, like,
go get Stratas off of Amazon.
Yeah. Go get some generalized clubs.
Get your Strata off of Amazon and
hit the hell out of them. Beat them up. That's what they're for. Like,
totally.
But if you're someone that's playing every weekend, you got the 9 to 5, you got the grind during the week, but you hit the range a couple times a week if you can, play a round or two on the weekend. I would get fit. Yes, I would. I would go see Garrett, get your PXGs fit, understand what kind of guy you are in terms of how you hit the ball. Are you someone that struggles to hit the ball high? Do you hit the ball too high? You know, are you someone that's drawing it too much and hooking, or are you a fader? Like
Blake is back in.
Oh yeah, okay.
Blake says, I wasn't really serious about beating your ass, but you talk about your golf game like you should be on the PGA Tour. I think you're full of shit. Okay.
But how does he talk about it like he should be on the tour, dude? So
I just said I can't hit a wedge.
Yeah,
week.
like the dude, like
I
literally
just said I can't hit a wedge.
And by the way, Mr. Hater here, frankly, the video's all over this guy's social media.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Like people criticize him because his swing isn't like traditional golf swing. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't, like, nobody said the guy is a +5 handicap and, should be on. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that, hey, I'm working on hitting the ball straight with my driver. And when I do that, the driver typically performs better for me. And when I can get that type of performance, I'm hitting wedge into the green. But again, even with that, hey, I still skull my wedges sometimes. It's like, come on, bro.
Blake also says, I didn't say consistently 360. Which you did, actually. I have the message. I said that's my longest drive. You're full of shit. You hit it 400 yards. Okay. Come up to Canyons. He says meet him at Bonneville. If I could get a tee time at Bonneville, I would, Blake. Come up to Canyons.
You can play for free with us.
Come up to Canyons and let's see what you do. I don't care. Like, there's this big thing in golf that, I hit it further than you. Okay, great.
Knock yourself out.
Great. There are several things that I know, and one of them is my game. I putt pretty well. I'm at a point with my putting where learning aim point for putting has completely changed the quality of my putts, and I putt the ball very well. I am always going to be inconsistent with my irons.
Mm-hmm.
I will Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, I had a pitching wedge from 152 yards with a laser. Had wind at my back. I was like, I'm going to hit a pitching wedge.
Mm-hmm.
The first swing at that shot, I took about 10 yards of grass with me. The ball went about 3 inches. The second swing was perfect. Over the trees, right onto the green. And why was I over trees? Because I pulled my drive left. So it's not about, hey, I hit the ball further than you. Congratulations. I don't care if you hit the ball further than me, because that's not what determines whether you score well.
Dude, if I could be 320 down the middle every time, I'd take that every single day. You don't need to drive it. Like in the mountains, you can hit legitimately. You can hit, 360. Like if you get the right conditions where you're hitting a downhill drive, wind at your back, like there are ways to hit 400-yard drives. There are. But the point is that to score, if you were playing like stroke scoring golf, you want to be 320 down the middle.
The 400-yard drive, it was on a par 5 with a, and again, I pulled it left. It was left under a tree. And how did I get out of that? I took a 7-iron and hit a punch 7 out of there. You have to, it doesn't matter if you can hit a punch shot from under a tree, you're going to score better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I missed the putt, which was frustrating as hell because I had a birdie.
But that type of sentiment in golf is the part of golf I don't like. It's just unnecessary.
Yes, exactly. Cowpoke Ranch. I've noticed over the years that is people who solely focus on drive distance have absolutely zero golf game. They couldn't put it on the green from 75, which is exactly my point. I don't care. I don't talk about, you know why I talked about that 400-yard drive yesterday? Because I have really struggled to hit my driver. Do you guys understand? I went through a stretch in July where I was hitting my driver 200 yards. I'm not even joking. I could not hit a drive to save my life. And it's because I grind on my iron swing constantly. And you retool a couple of things, you work on it, you go to the range, and then finally the switch hits. The hardest thing about golf is for me, I don't swing all of my clubs the same way. My driver setup is completely different than my iron setup. But now, like spine angle and I'm starting to figure it out because this is, again, only my second year back playing full time.
Yeah. Which, again, I just want to point out, and this is something I've said to you a million times. you're in the time you've been back golfing full time, you're already better than a ton of people out on the course. Like you are.
Mike Smith, Blake hits from the tees is longer than Monty's, just like Preston Stone's member. Yeah. Listen, if you're driving the ball 360 yards,
Good for you,
dude.
bro.
But if you're a 15 handicap,
And that's why I always say, bro, we'll take you up to Canyons. Come back it up, dude. Like, let's go. Let's do it. Put on a show for us.
yeah, it is.
But somehow
fine.
they never show up.
It's fine. Giggity. Dude that abides. I tell Mrs. Giggity about the grip on the shaft all the time. Got to grip that shaft. Welcome to the Nightmare, a member for 13 months. Let's go, Nightmare. Appreciate you. The end result is the least amount of strokes. Blake can hit it far, but is also proud of his 3-putt 15 handicap game. If you 3-putt, you're not gonna break 80 ever.
No. Nope.
And I feel like my focus right now is I'm going to golf in Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii to play golf. I want to be much more consistent by the time I do that. That's Thanksgiving. By the time I get to Thanksgiving, I want to be much more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's my entire goal. I once followed Tiger at a tourney here in Orlando, and dude hit a 3-wood from the rough from 280 yards in the rain and put it on the green. I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah. And that's where you just tip your hat to the guy and say, hey, like your ability is, unheard of.
Yeah. The Monty Show presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. Hey, man, did somebody hit you with a golf ball? Call The Advocates. Get to The Advocates. Don't sue people over golf. I saw a story about how somebody was traumatized because they got it was a near miss with a golf ball. So they sued and they won for mental trauma. Call The Advocates. You've been injured in an accident. You get hurt at work. They are the workman's comp experts. Car accidents, big rig accidents, bicycle accidents. Hook it up. Don't hesitate. Be ready. Because a lot of times in life, it's not a matter of if, but when. Get to theadvocates.com. Chat with an injury attorney. Live online, 24/7, 365. It won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.